My name is Cole Richards. I drive the number 11 CoreWorks Richards Racing Scion FRS GR86 Toyota Subaru BRZ.
And we're live. What's up, guys? Here for another week, another Tuesday, another show.
What's up, brother?
Good evening.
Another fun evening. Hopefully, this one stays on the rails more than last week. But
It was very on the rails.
Yeah.
We were just they're very wide tracks, so we went in various directions.
Between the mustard and the mayo, brother.
Exactly.
Well,
we do have
road.
a driver here that can actually, also put it on the track. But the real question is,
Sometimes.
What's going on with you this year, buddy? I just gotta know. I don't know too much. What's going on with the program this year? I haven't seen. I've seen you been tearing it up with like messing up with all the locals and being mean to those people.
Whoa. They started it. Blame Connor, dude. Blame Connor or Sully.
Man, you guys are just so mean to everyone over there. First of all, why pick on the little guys, you know?
All right, it's also Nick. There's a couple good drivers on the East Coast, the Southeast, but like,
you know, but here's the thing though, is you guys have been driving for a minute now, right? Like, for the season.
I don't even know if that's. Yeah, I guess you can put it like that, but relatively, we're still very new drivers. I mean, Connor and I started between almost 4 years ago, I think, is when we both started drifting. I think he started a little bit sooner than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And we both had wildly different approaches to this sport. But as in terms of like what's new this year, a lot.
Right.
Pretty much everything.
Well, exactly. I mean, you took the supercharger off your main car, your Prospec car, and right? Or like what?
Yeah. So round 4 of Utah, we had crank walk, and we couldn't really. There's not a fix for crank walk, except the new motor. So, the Thursday night we were just, trying everything we could because all of Thursday practice we were just flinging supercharger belts, accessory belts, nothing we could do. Practice was just a shit show. So Friday comes and we decide to take off the supercharger belt and just run the car completely NA, making 350 horsepower, maybe 370, if that. And we turn up the RPMs, we aired up the tires to 55 psi, and we just sent it. And it was honestly the most fun I've had in a drift car in quite a long time. And I'm not saying we were keeping up with people at any means, but we were still there in practice because the car was basically just eating itself away. Every lap I did in practice, we were kind of going slower and slower because the car was losing more and more power.
Right.
But we did our top 32 battle and I loved it. It was the most fun I've had, which is kind of sad to say because we got knocked out in top 32, but like how I drove the car was so much fun because it was like driving an AE86 again with 90 horsepower.
Right.
You use the clutch as much as you can and you throw it as hard as you can and you're on throttle as long as you can be.
Yeah.
So with that happening, we decided to just ditch the supercharger and go completely NA this year. And I think it fits my driving style a lot more. And it's been really nothing but success.
I'm reading the chat here. We'll get to some of the chat statements here in a second. But so obviously you have driven the car this year, though. Is kind of getting to my point. How have you liked it? you know?
It's been amazing, especially with the 8.6 chassis. It's a very hard chassis to set up and drive. And we've been doing tons of seat time, tons of practice. And the FRS was, a retired FD car that I brought back to life. And just kind of thinking on how things went last year and moving forward to this year, we wanted to change everything. With going in a route, we want to move weight around. We want to obviously add nitrous to the NA motor and change everything around. So we are building a new car for this year. But just everything changed. Everything changed. So this car is now more of like a grid life, smaller competition, Nopi, hot pit, local events. Like this is a seat time car. We get data off of this car for the new car. This is like the redheaded stepchild you just beat, basically. Like that's like the best way to put it, right? It's like this car's been around for 11 years now. The chassis tweaked.
It has seen a thing or two.
Like the chassis is not good. It's not a good chassis to bring back into a competitive format like Formula Drift, but it still works. It still kicks. It's not dead yet. Why kill it, right? So if we can get as much data as we can off of this car and this setup, we need to capitalize on it. So we're building sister cars.
That'll be cool. Well, I mean, we'll get to what you're going to be doing in Atlanta here in a second. I just got to address a couple things in the chat and didn't quite to get you introduced to our regulars again. What's up, Brandon, Herbie? Herbie, I got a question for you. No, sorry, not Herbie. Brandon. Terrible host here. But Brandon, I do have a question for you. Stephen Kwan says, Cole and Brandon are similar in age. Why isn't Brandon in real life FD?
Herbie, I see you chuckling.
Hey,
because someone after it says Herbie is rich.
Yeah, Herbie's rich.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, why am I not an FD? Great question. Anyway, let's get to the next question. There's no other questions. Never mind. All right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, lovely.
Well, but check your pockets every day. You never know. Maybe I'll.
Thanks, guy who asked that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's okay. We already kicked out. We got a story. We don't need him anymore.
Somebody ban this guy.
Somebody ban.
I got kicked, dude. What
Someone
the fuck?
ban this fucker.
It does happen.
It happens. It's all good. But yeah. So now that you guys have seen that how much Brandon is a failure, back to Cole. Okay.
Jesus.
No, but in terms of Atlanta this year, and we'll get into all of the pro side of Atlanta here pretty quickly. But for you, what's kind of the play for you? Because like you said, you're building two cars. As anyone knows, building cars never goes as planned. What's kind of the plan for you this year, or is it still kind of up in the air?
Yeah, so obviously our goal is to take the new car to FD Atlanta, first round for us. And we can, start as far back as we want. If you're not a year ahead of what the timeline should be, then you're kind of behind. And we kind of started the build a little bit late just because all of our plans, did change after Utah. And when you're building a car, you have to order parts, you have to make sure everything's right. Some things don't go as planned. Parts are on back order. You're not going to get the parts for, 8, 10, 12, or even 14, 15 weeks. So it's like everything does halt for a second when you're building a car. So it's good to have a backup in case, plans don't go right.
Right.
So we are taking the FRS to round 1 Road Atlanta. And for us this year, especially this year, is just being consistent. Last year was kind of a big, I don't want to say ego check, but it was very humbling for sure. After winning, or not, winning, New Jersey 2023 and then getting a second podium in Utah and getting 4th overall, and then dealing with everything that was happening last year with car setup because we changed weight around and figuring out this chassis. It was kind of like my learning year. Like everyone's first year in FD, you're learning, right? Like you're getting into a new environment. You need to learn the tracks. You need to learn everything. For me, it felt like because I didn't get a lot of seat time, we didn't really have time to learn the car, and I was always playing catch up.
Yeah.
Unlike my first year, I was driving that car all throughout Pro-Am and
Yeah.
East 10, Sonoma Drift, LS Fest. Like I knew what the car was going to do. I knew how to drive it.
Yeah.
So last year we were always just playing catch up. And so this year we're trying to prevent that. Obviously we're late on a new car build, whatever. We have the FRS ready to go. So with the FRS, it's good because we have so much seat time, we have so much data on the car already. Our biggest thing this year is just being consistent.
Yeah. I mean,
you definitely had like what you said, like a lot of mechanicals last year. It really was like your biggest setback because you did come into Prospec, hot, ready to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
so it's like especially in New Jersey. Like last year at New Jersey was like I don't know what I'm feeling right now, but I'm feeling something I don't like. And Corey Talatska's a homie. We're CoreWorks teammates the first year. Nothing against Corey, but like getting knocked out in top 32 was like, whoa! I just won this event 2 years ago. What just happened?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to learn those types of things, especially with drifting. You're not going to win everything. It's
Right.
drifting. It's a judge sport. It's almost impossible to win everything. So if you can be consistent on just always making progress, that's the only way to go.
Yeah. And for you it was a supercharger, losing a supercharger in hopes of gaining reliability.
Yeah. With the NA platform, we haven't had, knock on wood, but we haven't had any issues with it. It's just been reliable. You beat on it, you can drive it however you want to. You tell the gas pedal to go, and the car goes. So there's not the modulating the throttle with the supercharger like I kind of had to the last couple of years. It's a very different driving technique, and I don't want to say it's similar to a 2J, but with a 2J you have to drive it 90 to 100% all the time. That's the same way with an NA platform. You have to drive it. You have to tell the car what to do and how to do it.
Yeah. Well, like are there big power changes as well, or is it somewhat similar, or with the nitrous and everything, or are you sacrificing some power to get that reliability? I'm just kind of curious.
So
and is
we
I
lost,
assume, like you said, the power band's probably way different too, right?
Yeah, the power band's different. We lost. So like with the supercharger, I was making 870, 900 wheel.
Yeah.
In the FRS, since it's just a strictly NA motor built by Golan, this is their drift spec motor.
Yeah.
We lost about 200 pounds of weight with the supercharger.
Oh wow.
And then we only lost about 150 horsepower. So it's like we lost weight, we lost some power, but it's still very, like, you can't tell a difference in my eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
For how the car's set up, like, you have a quick change. You can, change the gearing. Like, you can make.
And it's also too where the weight is.
Yeah.
Like hanging over the front, it's just gone now. So.
Yeah.
And like it is a big chunk, and that's what I've come to learn more recently, is how heavy supercharger systems really are.
Massive. You couldn't take the supercharger off by yourself. Like it's a 2-person job where you need a crane to get it off the motor. It's a heavy piece of equipment.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have some sick ass core hanging over the
put your back into it, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Like, especially having all that weight off now, it's like it's kind of weird to look back and see the car would pop massive 3 wheels very inconsistently of where a 3 wheel shouldn't really happen. It's kind of funny because the car wasn't set up right. So when I would clutch in, the car would just pop up. So it's all about car setup for one. Like you can make a supercharger work, you can make a 2JZ work in that car, but having 200 pounds off the front nose is kind of nice,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's say theoretically you were at minimum weight. Well, now you can put that weight somewhere else.
Yeah.
And put it where you want it instead of on the nose.
So we were pretty high in our weight class, and
Yeah.
Prospec's minimum weight is 2,900 with the driver, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think right now, without the supercharger, we're about, I think 31 with me in it,
Okay.
which is still kind of heavy, but I think we were like almost 33, 34
Wow.
Wow.
last year. Yeah, it was a heavy car.
I mean, it
Yeah, it's a
looked.
big girl.
You love to pick up the wheels on the thing, so I'm curious to see if it does drive differently because, like you said, it seemed very hard to drive. If that's
Yeah.
beforehand, so I'm curious to see if your driving has also improved with the engine setup and
Yeah.
whether it's smoother and just like you said, the consistency is what wins races, not necessarily the fastest car.
Yeah.
And
Like the biggest track I can kind of put it into words is FD Utah is was one of the fastest tracks.
yeah.
But going into OZ2, you're having so much load on the car where the front right would just pick up 2 feet off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But without a proper car setup, if it's just bouncing and you're not going anywhere. Like if it's
Yeah.
raising up, like it's really not a good setup.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like a car can three wheel, but when it's three wheeling properly, you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
You'd say it's almost like undrivable. Not undrivable, but it was really hard to drive with the way it was.
Yeah, like when I would get
Three
back
wheeling
on
before.
throttle and I would pop up one of the front wheels, the steering would bind because it wasn't doing it like it wasn't a proper three wheel. It was just popping it when I
Picking it
would
up.
get back on throttle or push the
Yeah.
clutch in at a weird time because all the weight's shifting backwards. So it's like it can't really tell itself what to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, so I guess it would theoretically also make you drive smoother, with less corrections and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But for you this year, is the goal pretty much championship or bust at this point? Like, I mean, because you feel like you have the talent to get there. Like, what's kind of your goals for the year, you think?
Overall, that's the goal. I mean, we have to take it, one day at a time. So
Mhm.
Thursday practice, we need to get a good car set up. We need to make sure we have the proper gearing. We need to make sure that, the team's happy, I'm happy, the car's happy. There's a lot of variables that go into an FD weekend, and even though we're only Prospec, like we're investing a lot of money, but
Mhm.
like obviously the goal is a Pro 1 license, no doubt about it. But you have to take it slow. You have to take it one day at a time, one battle at a time.
Yeah.
Like you can't get ready for a top 8 battle and it's still, Thursday practice.
Right.
Like you can't do that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ichigan, or however you say that name, is so when we were talking about the three wheeling stuff, was that with no front bar?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've always felt like 8.6s and FRSs and that kind of chassis always looked very difficult setting up wise.
Mhm.
When it comes to like when you see like Jerry Yang's cars, for example, I don't know what suspension setups those things do, but the like anti squat and the motion that those cars make when they get on throttle is like no other car in the grid. It's so
Yeah.
weird. And
Yeah.
so, like, what's the challenge been like working with this chassis and just trying to figure out what it likes?
I don't want to give away too many secrets
Well,
now.
yeah,
but...
you don't need to give away secrets, but like, what were some of the difficulties, or what was like an issue that you guys were running into? Like obviously we
So-
talked about the jacking and the three wheeling stuff.
Yeah, so we just now put a front bar on the car, I think a couple months ago, and we've
Yeah.
started to finally play with that setting. When setting up a drift car, I've had Taka Iwana in my corner for many years now. He's the person who taught me how to drift. He's the
Yeah.
person that's helped me set up the cars, and he knows a lot, no doubt about it. But with how cars need to be set up nowadays, you have to take the time, you have to have the patience, and you have to go through every single setting, and you need to make sure what each setting does. And that only happens when you have the time and you have the patience to make those small changes. You go out for a lap, what did you feel? All right, let's change this. Oh, wow, that felt a lot better. but how much more can we change until it doesn't feel any better, you know?
Yeah.
So setting up this chassis is very, very, very weird. I've had to change my driving style like 3-4 different times.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, Odie is like talked about actually like almost having like a whole chassis per round in a sense, which which would probably ultimately be like two different chassis, like one for the shorter courses and a one for, the longer, more flowy, not as snappy transition type styles. So that way he can have one that might, this is just ideas that he's throwing around in his head, but like having like
Yeah.
a lighter chassis with a smaller tire and that type of setup for Jersey or something, and then going back to Seattle or at the time Irwindale having a bigger and badder setup. So yeah, changing your setup around too, I don't think is too wrong of you to actually do. Like you got to dial it in. So
Yeah, 100%. And then especially with working with Weisfab, having the grip kit or having just a normal V2 kit Weisfab, it's two different cars. So with us, it's like, New Jersey, you want a very quick, snappy car. You have two transitions that need to be on point. And then with Utah, you only have two transitions, but you're going so much faster where you have to slow down that transition and you can't have a snappy transition. I think my first year of Utah, I have a clip and it's one of the fastest transitions I've seen going into OZ3.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It looks very good. But now do that in the chase. Congratulations, you just pinched yourself or you just
Right.
hit the lead car. You can't do that. Like even Ryan Literal has a clip of OZ3 and Utah where it's like, holy shit, there's no way he just pulled that off.
Right.
But then try and do that in the chase, you have to, adapt. You have to slow down the wheel transition. Like you can't always do that, and that's with proper car setup.
Yep.
100%. Yeah, and I mean, it's always a learning game, and like you said, you've only been doing this for what 4.5 years?
I think like 3.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So call it what you want. You still learning the ropes as everyone else is, but it'll be an interesting class, I think, for Prospec. I mean, we're gonna get into the pro later this session or this show, but like, just your quick thoughts on like the Prospec field this year. I mean, there's a lot of returning names and faces, and should be a fun year.
Yeah. Each year of Prospec has only gotten better, only gotten more, good drivers like Colette Davis, Josh Love. I'm blanking on so many names right now, but there's so many very good drivers in Prospec where it's like, oh, we actually have to turn it up to 11 now. Like I felt like my first year was like, cool, just survive and you won the battle.
Yeah.
Don't have a car issue, you won the battle. Like in my eyes, it was a lot of inconsistent driving, I think, in 2023 by a lot of drivers.
Yeah.
And I think each year there's only getting better drivers, and it's good. I think it's, we're going back to the roots of drifting of let's drive our cars hard. Let's actually have a good competition instead of, bringing out slow, not as competitive cars. Like it's hard to, obviously it's like I'm very thankful for the position I'm in, but like it's hard tandeming with people who are testing their cars at Atlanta. Like it's scary to do. And it feels like, not as many people are doing that nowadays, but it's still a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. 100%. No, and like I said, or I've said on the previous show, like this class is going to be, it's a lot tighter. I think there's less drivers this year than there were previously. I think we saw in a Long Beach what a tighter field kind of does. It really makes the show move a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot smoother. I like more drivers personally, but I appreciate that how the driving was in the actual series or in Long Beach and how smooth that event ran, and the level of driving was top notch. So
yeah,
I'm definitely expecting an improvement this year as well in Prospec, just because they've kind of tried to trim the field down a little bit, and make it so that it's a legit competition. It makes it so that even your top 32 battles, you got to be on it. Like that, and that's kind of where it looks like they're trying to lead the series into having more selective on their drivers instead of having a 50 plus car field in like one of the series or something. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes for them this year. But like you said, there's a bunch of guys that are, veterans in Prospec, I would say, that are always going to be a challenge. But then there's always a bunch of new wild cards, like Ferris, for example. Huge wild card. Dude, no, there's no book on that guy, like.
Yeah. I don't think he's been drifting that long. I mean, dude, look at Jerry Johnson.
Yeah.
Another NASCAR FRS. He just beat me out in a hop. I'm like, oh shit, you're a driver, and he's not been driving long.
Yeah.
He has not been driving long. I think
Saw
2
him
years
at
max.
He's definitely, he rips. And and I think it comes too with like, he doesn't have that much experience, so that like he has like less fear in a way too. Like he built his car. Yeah, he built his car to just beat the shit out of it and have fun. And then ultimately it turned into like it just, stepping stone its way into now having a Prospec license. And
I mean, if you ever get a chance to look at that car, it's mechanical everything.
Yeah.
It's still a carburetor. Like dude, that car rips. There's no such thing as an electrical error on that car. Like,
yeah.
That car rips. That car sounds so good. He's such a great person to even just be around. And he reminds me a lot of like a Connor O'Sully, like wild personality, very outgoing, very overall like good person,
Yeah. 100%. Phil has got a good question here. If you add nitrous, how much weight do you roughly add when you do that? Well, you're not going to get the answer because apparently I'm just going to kick them all out because I'm a jerk.
Yeah, no clue. We haven't played with any nitrous yet. I think it's about 25 pounds, if that.
Yeah,
ultimately
a little bit more. But it's not. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of weight.
You get the bottle weight. You get the little fucking. I can't remember the name of what it is right now. Nitrous regulator, basically, not regulator, but
it's not a whole lot of weight.
No. Yeah. So.
And you get a whole lot of horsepower from it. So.
Yeah, you can actually stick the bottle in the back instead of right over the engine.
Yeah.
And putting more weight where you don't want it.
Exactly. All right, so let's get to a couple questions in the chat here. First is Brandon from Steve. Brandon, why are you single?
Why is it roast Brandon hour today? What the fuck?
I don't know. We're just trying to see how you're doing, buddy. You doing okay?
I'm doing great. Dude.
He got hired, dude. He's doing double duty this year.
Yeah, now I'm fucking
officially.
Yeah, now I'm officially spotting.
Oh wow! Look at this guy. He's
crazy.
Yes, sir.
Crazy. Hit me up.
It only took me fighting.
Tell Matt to run into Cole. You can tell him to T-bone him. That's what's gonna happen.
He might not intentionally, honestly.
Oh no, we'll see if someone forgot to put their brakes in, and we'll see how that goes.
No, the brakes seem to be working all right at least. So
that's good.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've seen what happens in years past when brakes aren't checked. So it's just good old Atlanta.
God damn.
But no, I love
you never know. But, you never know what might happen in the trailer, dude. You hit a big bump, something falls off. Maybe his brakes did work. Maybe something somehow
those
came in and
get tweaked.
Fuck the lineup or something. Probably not, but.
So Brandon V asked, is it a new 86 chassis or a whole new something else? Staring eyes.
So the chassis actually came from Chicago. I'm blanking on his name. I think Rich Fisher is his name. He's a dealer guy. I don't know what he does, but he has a crazy all-white car collection. Very tasteful car collection. Yeah. So his goal was to build a grid life car out of it. Corey Misko did the cage in it, and then he just kind of gave up on the idea. He posted it on Facebook Marketplace for a very, very, very good deal. And I'm like, I need a backup chassis. So I picked it up, It came pre-caged, and then my fab guy has been doing everything else to it. So
That's sweet. Yeah,
yeah,
I saw that car when it was putting the cage in. That's
yep,
funny. Corey's up by my area. That is.
yeah, I thought so. Yeah,
I always wondered what happened to that car. That's
yep,
funny.
yeah, it's that car.
Well, be nice to it.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
Corey's
No, Corey
welds
did
hold up.
a. Yeah, no, his cage is like everything I wanted in a cage. It's exactly where everything is
Mhm.
like perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I mean, he definitely does. Like, he's one of those guys where he posts like stuff of his welds on Instagram,
Mhm.
and people are just impressed by it. So
Whoa,
yeah,
whoa, who does those welds? Like
yeah, yeah.
it's his work is very good.
It's pretty sweet. He did an exhaust on my Volvo. It's an XC70 with an SR60R drivetrain swap in it, and I have an exhaust that comes out the side of the bumper, and he built that for me.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, way below his pay grade. Let me just tell you right now. I'm like, thank you, but also this was a long time ago. This is probably like 5-6 years ago. Quick side story, but back to let's see. Ichigan says, I know I'm mispronouncing his name. He says, all the giving variables is why we love the motorsport. Again, referencing all the different tracks and all the different suspension adjustments that you have to make even for each track. Because let's face it, like, even with the Prospec series, you guys do drive drastically different tracks.
Mhm.
In each track, you're battling different types of corners, and even like a place like Utah, you got different air density, so and temperatures, all this kind of stuff. So I think I wish you guys personally, I wish Prospec went to Orlando, but instead of Atlanta, just because I think it would be a better show. But I know everyone likes driving Atlanta because it's such a cool place.
I still haven't drove Orlando, and it looks like a very fun track, but there's something just magical about Road Atlanta,
Yeah.
especially being like my home track, I guess you could say. Like I'm
Mhm.
only in 2 hours away from Road Atlanta, so
Right.
it's it's a track that it's like you always think about it. It's like, all right, cool. I need to win this track. Like this is my home track. We have to do good. And then every year it's just kind of always sucked for us. So there's something about Red Atlanta that is very special, especially since it's the only track with the fastest initiation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bring back
Utah. That
old Utah, dude.
yeah.
Bring back old Utah.
Please.
I don't know
Yeah.
Yeah,
whose
that would
idea
be
that was.
awesome.
Bring back old Utah. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, everyone. I mean,
I mean, you don't
we
like
did pit
beating
walkthroughs,
tires?
and we just asked every driver, "How do you think of the track? Is it shit?"
Yeah, there hasn't. I don't think there's been a single person that said, "Yeah, you know what? I actually like what they've done." No, I don't
No,
think
it was one
that's
of the most universally hated moves that I've ever
track
seen,
changes. Yeah.
other than maybe like New Jersey and what they or not. Sorry, not New Jersey. St. Louis and
St.
how they
Louis.
changed the track this year as well.
Hot take. I really liked St. Louis.
That is a hot
Okay.
take.
I
How about
really
that
liked
final
it.
corner
I
though?
really.
What's wrong?
What do you think about that final corner, adding that barrier there though?
It was definitely questionable. I think adding both barriers were questionable,
Yeah,
but it was
I
one of
understood
the
the
more
first
like
one, but
technical. It was one of the more technical tracks, and it really, I think, pushes a lot of drivers. Like you saw half the pro field spin out right there.
mhm.
Yeah.
When do you ever see that?
I think the problem with that last turn was the way how it did
That
apex,
was
or
curved
it,
at the end.
it
Yeah,
curves
how
in.
Yeah.
If they were able to make it that tight curve, but you know, maybe just open it up a little bit more, put that barrier at more of an obtuse angle as opposed to just
that's
pushed in.
that's kind of why I liked it so much because it's kind of almost like a sim track in my eyes, where you had to kind of add more angle as the radius kind of went on.
Yeah,
So it's made it more technical.
yeah. It definitely does. It definitely was strange. But I mean, to each their own. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That is probably one of the first good hot take It's not a hot take if everybody agrees. So.
Yeah, but yeah, I can't say if I've seen anyone else praise St. Louis. So I think you might be the first one there. But
Like, I never drove the old layout of St. Louis, but like I'm down to go back to that layout
It-
too.
Oh, the
but
big fast
The
one.
road
Oh,
course
yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was
Well,
That's
cool.
good.
It was cool.
You got the sim, so I think
Yeah.
that's probably as
Exactly.
far
Hey,
as you're gonna
speaking of
get to
sim,
experience that.
Sounds like you're a big sim guy over there. Is that true?
I mean, yeah,
I've seen them on a little
I
bit.
heard your DD1 broke.
dude, I had to plug it. So with my DD1, I had to like plug the power cord in and out 7 times, and then it started working again.
You gotta
Hey.
love it.
If it works, you can't.
If
really...
it works, it works, dude.
Yeah,
Now
so
you
what-
just can't turn it off again.
Yeah, since we got a bunch of sim nerds here, what is your sim setup?
Honestly, everything is parted out off of Facebook Marketplace. My
Let's
whole
go.
chassis itself was built by a guy who did a lot of the fab work for Hendrix Motorsports.
Okay.
His side work would be building sim chassis. So he built a lot of sim chassis for like, I don't want to say paralegic, but like, I guess paralegic people
Yeah, interesting.
who like wanted to still, drive and
yeah.
do flight sims and whatnot. So he did it on the side, and I found him on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, like I want a chassis, and
Yeah.
so he had one laying around. I'm like, sick,
Oh,
I'll buy
that's
it.
cool. That's
Like,
sweet.
all in all, like it's still a good setup. I think I had like the Fanatec handbrake that broke, but that was really about it. And so I
Yeah.
think like all in all, it's still like under, I would say under $4,500. I
That's
think.
pretty solid. Yeah.
But it's all like
What's-
it's all very very good stuff.
Yeah,
So
what's
it's like
the-
a 40-inch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's like the wheels and pedals and all that kind of stuff.
So it's Fanatec pedals, Fanatec shifter,
Nice.
DD1, Fanatec DD1,
Yeah. how years
Sim
ago
Magic
did you get it?
handbrake. I've had this setup for almost 3 years now, and it's been pretty solid.
Yeah. So even then the prices were a little bit higher. So yeah.
Yeah,
we're
so, like-
both in-
Yeah.
Even the monitor I got off of Facebook Marketplace for like $500. It's a $1,000 monitor, so it's like you just have to be hunting, and you can
Mhm.
build a very good setup. But like, there's obviously things I would like to change, but it's fine for right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say to people, you gotta look out for the deals of like the parents that are selling their kids shit because they were bad in school or something like
They
that.
moved out to college. They don't use any of this stuff
Yeah.
anymore, dude.
Yeah.
They don't
Well,
want it.
bought my kid this $2,000 thing. Don't really know. He doesn't use it. And it up
Yeah.
for sale for a quarter of that price. It's like, all right, what's
Yeah.
this up?
Dude, or like
Pick
no
'em
one can
up.
figure it out, and
Yeah.
like no one wants to mess with it anymore. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
gimme.
Right. Yeah. Good old garage finds. All right.
Yeah.
So we are actually going to start talking about Atlanta here and talk about the pro side a little bit, because I would say, like I said earlier, the first round, and let me know if you guys can see the bracket.
Yep.
But
Small.
it was
I'll see it
probably
better
one of
on
the
YouTube.
cleanest FD rounds, and it was at Long Beach of all places. Like, there was no serious carnage really, which
Yeah, I hope that it remains true to Atlanta.
yeah.
That
So
would be awesome. Shout out to you pro drivers for keeping that nice and
Keeping it
smooth.
clean.
Yeah,
man,
so that if you guys keep it smooth, then I'll be all right when Prospec inevitably goes and fucks it wide open.
Just goes in the kitty litter every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
God forbid it rains.
And I'm
in
not
Atlanta.
hey,
speaking on
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
am
Why
not
are we
speaking
saying
on
that,
everybody.
dude? Like,
I am not speaking on anyone.
God forbid it rains.
yeah. Well,
But-
like, and here's the thing: is like, I can't remember the last time I've had a normal Atlanta. Like, thinking back at the last 4 or 5 I've been to, there's always something goofy that happens there.
You get the attack of the
I
pollen.
mean, now we got grid life to throw it in too, so now we got even more goofiness.
I know, dude. That's like
Oh
it's gonna be
god.
fun.
Nate told me the other day. He's like, "Oh, well, maybe you guys could do some interviews." I'm like, "Damn, bro. I'm like, we got Grid Life, we got all
We
this
got
shit going
everybody
on.
to
I'm like,
interview, dude.
I'm gonna be
No one's
a
allowed back next
beaten
year.
man,
No
dude.
one's allowed back, dude.
Yeah. The weather's supposed to be nice, is what it looking like. Knock on wood.
Dude, Atlanta's challenging.
77.
Put that down.
So it's
Put
not
that
bad.
down.
Hey. Hey now.
Dude, I think last year we got like 4 laps on Thursday.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
awful. I
'cause it
felt
rained.
really bad for every single person. Like everyone that was doing their job right, just getting around the track. It was shitty no matter what. But then the ones that were really fucking it up for everybody, you were really fucking it up for
Well,
everybody.
you remember Corey Talaska loses a wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey lost his wheel. I mean,
That was fun.
you got a bunch of people that are role playing as cats because they see
Kitty
apparently
litter,
they see
yeah.
the kitty litter out there. They can't get enough of it. And
Bro.
then that is the thing.
Big furry
Actually,
crowd these days.
yeah. All right. So I was just having this conversation the other day about
Where's this going?
maybe like everybody. I understand the safety precautions of stop the track after somebody dive bombs head first into the rock. It goes all over the track. We don't want to have a machine gun shot at us or the spectators either. But say for the people that maybe go in, are nice and take the grassy route the rest of the way, or if they just kick a little just a rock or two. Do we really need to stop the whole fucking thing, dude? I
Dude,
don't know.
the tractor
it's
always
bad.
gets the most seat time.
Dude, it's insane, and that's the thing. I mean, we sign a waiver,
All right.
but obviously the spectators don't. And I understand the safety side. That's where I do get it on a big one. But the ones ultimately, even when I do clean the track, they're not getting every rock. There's still a chance I get fucking mollywopped out there, or somebody else. You get Aunt Bessie over there with her granddaughter.
Or you get Vaughn
And-
just four-wheeling in general, and then you
You
just
got
send it
Just
all.
back on
Richard who
track.
could hang out
Yeah.
under the bridge,
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we don't have to stop it as much. But Cole, you were going to say something. Sorry.
You said something about the tractor guy gets the most seat time. Did you ever see the guy who was painting the lines at FD St. Louis?
Yeah.
Smoking a cigarette and then painting the lines on his little lawnmower, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The dude in Utah is the worst. I actually said something to him. It was like a 17-year-old kid or something like that, just interning. Nothing against I was a kid too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was an idiot too back in.
The
But
ATV, dude,
he was
cooking.
wide open and multiple times. You know how it is with a short trailer. You lose control of that thing real quick, dude. There were a couple times where that
Speed
thing
dude.
is just jackknifing behind him, and then also, even if it wasn't, he's flying by and shooting tons of shit at the entire media that's just right there on that last outside zone.
Sick.
So the finally one time he did it, and then I was on my way off, and I was like, "Hey man," I'm like, "Are you having a good day?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty sick." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really sick when you drive by like an asshole. So if you can continue to do that, I'm going to show you how wrong you are." And it's not just me; it's everyone back here. And honestly, I feel like he cooled his jets a little bit. So I don't want to, I'm not gonna toot my own horn or anything, but
Don't
sometimes
open the
being
can
a
of
dick
worms
works.
with Herbie, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna get these guns.
There's a monster under there.
Yeah.
That's
Not
funny.
too deep. Nate's even heard it.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, looking at the pro field this weekend, look who gets the bye runs here. We got Derek, big old D-Mads, and Ryan. Why did I say Ryan? Rudy. Sorry, Rudy.
Ryan.
Jeez, oh Pete's. Hey, I haven't had a lot of sleep. Okay, I can say
Go to
that
sleep.
What do you mean, dude? They're like adults now. 1 month.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can.
They
can
sleep
shit
12 hours
themselves
just
in the
fine.
toilet.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
With no supervision.
Yeah, got it.
But yeah, so we got Rudy and Derek in the bye runs. Hopefully they can beat Byron. Shout out to Jeff Jones. I think he's #1 loser to bye runs in FD history. So, then we got we got Ryan Littrell and Freddie Sharifo, but I've heard rumors that Federico might not be showing up. I don't know.
Where's that rumor from?
I don't remember who told me that, but I heard that might be a thing. I don't know.
From insider sources on his team.
I just don't remember who told me. That's the problem.
He was going to get some Chinese food and he saw it on the ground a little.
Yeah, he saw it. He was in a fortune cookie. He opened it. And it's like the Italian man will not drive, and then he's like, and then he thought it was Federico.
I don't know. So we'll see. But if it is a battle, though, I think Literal showed that he's got a program worth driving this year, and I just hope he keeps it together, because he had a fantastic battle with James Dean in Long Beach.
Yeah.
All right. Going back to that battle, that was a great battle. That was like a scary battle to see in top 32. The same with Novak and Kenguchi. That was like, whoa, what just happened in top 32? Dude, that should not have happened.
And this is the thing with the new point system, is look at this bracket. Like, look how many rippers are in this bracket. It's insane. You got Literal. You got who else is in here? Dan Burkett, Nick Novak. You got who was the other guy that dropped out?
Shanahan.
Well, yeah. So but they were in the bracket last week. So I'm just trying to point out the new guys that kind of dropped back in here. But even like you said Vaughn, Daigo, like all these guys are still in it too. But I think it's going to be a fun seeding bracket again this year.
Yeah.
Or at least this session, or this round or whatever. So I'm picking Literal for this battle. It's going to be hard not to. I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the year. I hope he gets to battle someone other than James Dean in top 32, and I'm really curious to see how that's going to go. Next battle, we got TLO, who I did see on the dyno with a running car, so shout out TLO. It looks like he's making it to Atlanta with the Corvette. Hell of a driving show, though, in that borrowed E36 that made like
500 something horsepower.
It made like 500 something horsepower the first day he drove it. And then he learned that there's a boost knob you can turn up and to get it to 700 the second day. He's like, this thing is so slow.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
It took him a couple laps, but then he, all he needed to do was put himself in the hot seat of actual battle time. It was like, all right, I have to do all these things now, otherwise I lose.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we get to see the Corvette in full racing action this weekend. He's still figuring things out on that car, though. That's for sure. But he definitely looked like he was learning it as the event progressed. Until it stopped running, unfortunately. And then you got classic Andy Haley. Good to see him always in battles here, and I've definitely got the experience on TLO, so I'm curious to see how this is going to go. Obviously, Andy, previous year, jumped up from Prospec, so I'm excited for this battle, but I just love how
Tommy
TLO
has
drives.
the aggression on him,
Dude,
that's for sure. If he could keep it together, I do think Tommy will.
I know Jack Shanahan's the favorite, and for good reason, for Rookie of the Year, but boy, TLO and Connor O'Sully, and I mean, even Austin, dude. All four of those guys looked really good at Long Beach. Even though they're all still here in the seating bracket, like, I thought they all drove pretty well for what it was worth. Like, and we'll get to Austin here in a second, but I'm just kind of curious who you guys have, TLO or Andy Haley.
TLO.
I think I'd go TLO too.
TLO 3.
There you go.
I got to go with Andy.
Oh boy, here we go.
And he's smooth. He's like one of those drivers where it's like, oh, I can fully trust you in the chase. Like,
yeah. Especially ever since he made the switch to the E46, man. Ever since he switched to the E46, it's been life changing for that man.
Mm.
Yeah, I always just feel like his driving looks kind of crazy in a way, but it's only just because he doesn't drive with as much angle, I feel like, as a lot of other people. So then, like, as I'm like looking at it, I think I see errors. This is also the same when I look at other people. I'm like, that was sick. In reality, they were 6 feet out of the zone. So yeah, it's like I can tell they look at all the smoke they made.
Right.
Yeah. Andy's car never really pours out the smoke as much, so maybe again, it's like how back in Long Beach, I thought that Ben won versus Stuki during the seating bracket because again, the wow factor. Maybe
Right.
I am just like
X Factor.
Yeah, I'm just like a little kid with a shiny thing of keys dangling in front of me, and I'm like, look at this. That was neat.
It was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for this next battle though. Matta versus Dan Burkett, dude, and this will be Matta's supposed to be bringing the new car to this round.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh, so he was building a new car.
Yes.
New car. Is it still an S14?
Yes.
Yeah. Still
Everything
new car
should be the
equal-
same. It's just
Oh.
not Swiss cheese, which
True.
it'll probably drive completely differently because it's not Swiss cheese that he's driving.
And hopefully, he doesn't have any like random gremlins that come out. The chassis that he drove at Long Beach was tried and true.
Well, that one had issues though. He had 0 practice runs before his Manoa battle.
This is true.
The second day, and then ended up putting up a great battle against him.
Yeah. So maybe he just needs a straight chassis.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is like you got to remember, like obviously that was Austin's first time driving Long Beach and freaking killed it. So
yeah, absolutely.
This is a track he's driven many times before. He's done well at. Obviously Dan is no rookie either though, and he seemed like he was figuring out the car at Long Beach. I don't. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. It seemed like he was, obviously he's got the new Wise Fab in the rear of that Supra.
Yeah.
How'd you guys think he was driving?
OMT'd Forsberg. I don't think it should have gone to Forsberg at first. I think he was driving great.
I think so too. I thought it was gonna be a one more time.
OMT or Dan.
This is a tough one. Who I would actually think would win because Rat Dan is looking really good. Austin Matta, I know, has the balls in him to just never back down, never what. And, but I don't know. I would think that Rat Dan might get the dub on this one.
I'm going Radical Daniel too.
Yeah, I mean, just from an experience standpoint, and Dan's usually done well in Atlanta too, if I remember.
It seems like he's having a lot more fun too. Like like just like going to like other events and stuff, not just the nuances of just being in hell in FD. Like FD is fun, but like you start to lose sight of actually what brought you here in the first place. Sometimes it's fun to just go drive with the locals or like just some other shredders at a fun event.
100%.
Not spend $30,000 or however much money to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm personally, this is going to be my low-key one of my favorite battles that I'm kind of anticipating. I know there's a big battle we're about to go get to, and that is Daigo and Vaughn. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty hyped because I have no idea what's going to happen.
Battle of the grandpas, baby. Let's
go.
go.
2 dinosaurs in FD, dude.
Yeah.
Either. No hate.
Bro,
I don't think Vaughn's gonna have a problem. So
personally, I don't think Vaughn's gonna have a problem, but I also don't think they're both coming out of this with cars that are making it back up the hill.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I'm calling it right now. I'm calling.
Is that because Daigo is just gonna T-bone the shit out of him? And
dude, something's gonna. I think he's. So let's see. Daigo's gonna lead first because he's higher seed. I think Daigo's going to have a bad lead, and he's going to be all mad, and he's just going to run it through the door, Vaughn.
You don't think Von Gittin's going to Von Gittin over Daigo Saito? You don't think we're going to see that again?
No,
That'd be cool.
No monster trucking?
He doesn't have many opportunities to do it every year anymore. So
true. He's got his one here.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good. I think they're both respectable drivers, both from the same era of FD.
I thought you were about to say both from the same area.
No? Nope, not at all.
A little different.
A little bit. Different.
But like with also we got to remember, okay, let's say everyone shows up. That means the 2 lowest seed drivers that lose are getting knocked out. So right now we're looking at our next battle here in Dmitry Brutskiy versus Jack. because he's seed 14, and then you have seed 13, which is Andy Haley. And then it goes obviously Dan Burkett, Nick Novak, and so on and so forth until the lower seed loses. So definitely those. If we have an importance as battles go, this next one that we're talking about, Jack Shanahan, Dmitry Brutskiy, which I feel bad for Dmitry because dude's a ripper, but I feel like sometimes he just gets some bad draws when it comes to battles, because Jack obviously has come to play this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, let's be honest, probably the reason he lost was because of mechanical last round.
He didn't get that many practice laps, if I recall, right?
No.
Yeah, he went and did a bend and snap into the wall during practice.
That's right, yeah.
Because I know,
Broke.
I think his testing day, he had a motor failure, and they had to swap
Yep.
another motor.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he doesn't have a whole lot of seat time on that one series.
No.
No.
So
It's
talking
going to be
about
really
Shanahan.
interesting to see. I'm hoping, obviously better luck for Jack in Atlanta with, driving the track and everything, because this will be his first time driving Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Very
so,
true.
it's not like an easy track to just jump in and go drive. But
Definitely
granted, he's
not.
also a really good driver. So I'm
And he's
excited
got
for
a
this battle
sim,
because
so he
of
could
the
practice.
implications of how important it is for Dmitry. Because Dimitri's going to be pushing. Like,
Yeah, I mean-
Dimitri's
Yeah.
going to throw everything at the wall at this battle because it means whether or not he makes it through.
yeah, like going back to Jack, it's like he's drove so many different style of tracks. So it's like when you can do that, or even hop on a sim and go to one track to another track and just run a perfect lap. Like I know Brandon, you probably do that every now and then. Like you jump on a track, I'm not feeling it. Run a
Right.
perfect lap. I want to drive another track now. But it's
Yeah.
like there's certain mental things that can just click in a driver. That's like, I don't know how to drive this track, but that's actually better because I don't have to overthink or think about everything else that's happening. Of, hey, I need to be like on this side of the track, like this specific inch to set me up. It's a very different driving aspect, but I don't think that's going to be a massive issue for Jack.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Connor showed the year before that he can drive with pretty much anyone in the series. So
Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be the best battle of the whole seeding bracket. Is probably going to be this one just because of what's on the line. And I know, knowing Dmitry, he will be pushing as hard as he can.
Yeah, I mean, 2 drivers get knocked out this one, right?
Yep. And so,
Yeah.
like I said, Andy Haley's the other guy that's on the line. So that's the other battle to watch first.
Yeah, that's something. I mean,
Yeah.
you got, and then Rad Dan just right there.
But keep
That
in mind,
was-
let's say someone breaks, which, let's be honest, we got real close to a car missing out in Long Beach with TLO, and even Dmitry barely made his battle after hitting the wall. So I don't know if we're gonna have.
I don't know. Are there usually a lot of mechanicals at Atlanta? It seems like there isn't really many because you get all the gremlins out at Long Beach, and then Atlanta, it's pretty dialed unless someone slams into you.
or has a catastrophic engine failure in the
Yeah.
like top 4 or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Atlanta's.
Yeah, honestly,
I've seen
it's
a lot of
definitely a
broken
little
cars
different.
in Atlanta.
Yeah, a lot of people
broken
getting run
cars.
into.
And you got to remember, like, Atlanta is a very different track than Long Beach. You got the elevation, you have the going really fast to really slow, and like going around the keyholes can be really hard on the car, especially if you're in the chase. We've seen a lot of things break in keyhole, whether it's axles, transmissions. Homeboy over here actually found that out his rookie year, didn't you, Cole?
Yeah, coming out of the keyhole, went to upshift 4th in top 32, and I kind of blew up the transmission. Yeah, so that was a fun one, but now I'm with RTS, so it's been pretty good ever since.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really fun one, and the roof of my car shows that.
That was a stock trans you were on?
No,
Not a stock trans. Oh, okay.
It was a dog box. It
Oh,
was
okay.
a GSR, but it was There was a guy off eBay that was kind of local that is a known builder for those, and I didn't really know who Rick or RTS was at the time. And when he said, "Oh, I put new gears and new dog ears in," he did not. He just grinded them down.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Hell
Yeah,
Hell
so
yeah.
that was a very fun lesson to learn right there.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, well,
Not optimal.
you
So,
learn,
but like I
right?
said,
Yeah, it's learn,
all I'm
right?
saying is it's pretty good likelihood that we're gonna have someone
$6,000
break.
later.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
at
Okay.
least in the pro. I know you're all confident, Brandon. It's FD, bud. We're always
No, I
missing at
know.
least one
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah.
Like,
No. I was saying more like
especially
in practice. It seems like not many people break just because they have less practice time with pro spec also going. It's usually during the battles that everyone breaks, but
No,
don't mean to get technical.
people
or-
break all the time in
We'll-
practice, and then they
But-
just
We'll
get their
see.
shit
We'll
fixed
see.
by comp usually. But you know,
Well, there we go. There's the.
He's
Never
putting
mind.
a bad juju on us,
I
dude.
feel like okay.
yeah. I
never
was
mind.
like, don't get too confident.
Hey.
But actually, so
Yeah.
knowing that it's Dimitri's battle is on the line, do you think he's winning against Jack, or do you still think it's Jack's battle to lose?
I think Jack might win.
I think Dimitri stands a pretty good chance to beat Jack. When it comes to it, like when the pressure's there, I feel like Dimitri can pull it out. I think it'll be pretty dead even to see.
Because he's had some amazing battles already in
Yeah,
pros,
Yeah.
and
in
even
pro,
you know even last year, you look at Long Beach. I mean, against
With
Connor
Connor,
Shanahan
yep.
of all people, he's good battle there. So I think when the pressure's there, I think he could do stuff. And then Jack's got the new car.
Never
Jack's good in
driven.
anything, so as long as the car holds together, I feel like he has a good shot as well. So it's really whatever happens.
I'm picking
happens.
Dimitri this battle. I think something's gonna happen with Jack's car, or just the inexperience at driving the track. Something's gonna happen, and I think I'm pretty confident Dimitri in this one. I don't know why. It's probably bad.
This might be
move.
good for the Irishman though. It's like they like these types of styles. Going hot,
Yeah.
do a hard 90 angle, and then keep the fluidity though. Like that's Mandela all over.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind
The
of like
on-
Mandela.
Yeah, but
only
Mandela, you kind of
difference
keep
is
the speed. I feel like a little bit more than you
it
do.
depends on the variation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types of and even then they have a lot of choke points in a way. There's two major choke points on Mandela. Well, honestly, three. You have your entry, depending on which layout, and then the two outer zones, and going into the end. So I mean, the keyhole I think is the biggest difference for what I think in my head what I think Jack might go against, and then going through that slow point and then having to then get that speed back up so quick. I mean, the hill kind of does it for you.
Well, you got to remember, you can't see anything on the way back down. It's all muscle memory at that point. So that just comes with experience.
Or hoping that the car wants to do what it wants to do properly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, let Jesus take the wheel.
Exactly. Well, we got the last battle here. We got old Sully and Nick Novak. This is gonna be a spicy one.
That's a battle. That's two homies. That's a battle. I can't touch on that one.
Isn't that cool though? Like they get to go battle in Atlanta. Two Atlanta homies just battle in Atlanta.
No, that's pretty bad. That's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for y'all it's cool, but I'm taking 3 steps back. They're both homies.
Yeah. Well,
But that's where you kind of hope that Novak is right on the cusp. He's 11th, so if Dimitri gets knocked out and Haley gets knocked out, he's safe no matter what. But then if
Dimitri wins and Andy wins,
now it's like fuck. He's pretty much next. Other than Radan, he's next on the chopping block, so he does have a chance. Of hoping. And again, going back to also potential mechanical failures or cars just not at the line or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah.
maybe Federico really isn't there, so that already takes one. So then that's ultimately only one guy getting knocked out.
Yeah, but still, it's
yeah,
that light pressure that's like, oh, by the way, here, just make sure you don't lose. Okay, that's the only thing that you got to say. But the thing is, by his battle, he's gonna know, regardless, if he's got to win or not. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this battle just because I think they're two different ways of going about building a car for any 46. Like you got the NA nitrous route with Sully, and then you got the giant blower.
And that's still Connor's prospect car. His pro card's not done yet.
It's still not done. It will be at Atlanta, or I guess you can't really speak on that either.
I believe he's taking his prospect car back to Atlanta.
Damn. I know that he was really, at Long Beach he seemed confident. Also, could just be, fake, lying to the public so that way like the knowledge doesn't get out or whatever too. But like he did seem confident that the new car would be at Atlanta, so that does.
It might be. It could be.
If it isn't,
problems.
new car problems, and I mean if it isn't, like it sucks to hear because ultimately I know for like
horsepower does help here.
Yeah. And like in a circumstance probably like with you too, Cole, like if that was to happen, like that that's not because of what you guys did, but like either parts were late or back
It's
ordered
everything else. And
yeah.
I mean, what the cool thing about Atlanta is it can also be treated as a momentum track. You just have to pick and choose where you want to, surge on the chase. It's a very good track.
It's not a horsepower track by any means.
I feel like going up the hill it is, but
Seattle, it can be definitely. Like look at Kristoff.
Yeah, but if you look back at Alec Honendale in 2017, he was running like no boost in his car, and he just changed his gearing, made it good, and just used his momentum, and he nearly beat James Dean until his car pooed itself. You
don't need power. I was keeping up with prospect cars with 350 horsepower in practice. Like it can be done. It's not comfortable. It can be done.
Yeah,
it's like power, of course, but besides the point. I don't know. I see Road Atlanta as like a very big momentum track, and I think, arguably, Kristoff's is one of the only people that have mastered Road Atlanta, and he's one of the quickest drivers around Road Atlanta. Just all because of momentum, and he's keeping all of the momentum from the inner clip up.
Yeah, and we'll get to him, but also Osbo's been the fastest guy the past few years. That dude is dangerous at this track.
Yeah, he's got that entry dialed. That switch right into the going up the hill, loses zero momentum at all. It is just fluid, which again, it is sick to see from like a outside the camera standpoint. But then when I'm shooting, I'm like, this looks boring. But then I finally see the replay. I'm like, holy shit, that was gangster as hell. This car is nice and smooth and quiet sounding. There's no major throttle changes or anything like that. It's just so perfect. It actually doesn't look as cool as someone that maybe didn't do as good of a run as him. I'm sorry, Osbo.
Yeah,
you're too proper.
I don't know. I think I like Novak's. Just like I like his chances for this battle. Just based on watching him drive and the fact that he's got the car dialed 100%. This year, I think he's definitely going to be. I think obviously we saw his battle against Gucci. He was right there, So it's like,
yeah.
I think he's kind of a killer, low key killer this year, and I think he's out for blood. I think he's going to have a really solid season.
Going Novak in 5.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Novak on this one. But again, I am curious to see what car Sully's bringing. I hope it's the new car because, you never want to see someone have the excuse of oh, well, I was down 300, 400 horsepower compared to this guy, you want to have it even fight as possible. But if you say, because I personally feel like Atlanta's a big power track because you can gap someone going up the hill pretty good in the lead.
But you also, if you're too close in the chase, then you can get gapped because you just pinched yourself. If
Right.
you hold back, it's like it's one of the tracks where it's a good balance of both. You
Yeah.
can do it with 600, 700 horsepower.
For sure.
I mean, any track can be done with
Right.
90 horsepower with enough grip out of the car. But like,
this is
obviously
essentially...
it's not ideal, but anything can be done.
Yeah, he's gonna have more grip
Drive.
in a sense with less power. It's going to make you go a little bit faster depending on how you set the car up. I always think back to the one dude who was a club loose hero, and he would rip around in his stock KA behind Forsberg when he would bring out his pro car, and would just be banging doors with Forsberg. And it's like you would never hear that poor old KA lift, but he did it. He did do it, and it was just all NA, nothing added to it, just hopes and dreams. But yeah, I mean, it definitely could be done. So I have high hopes for Sully. In this circumstance between this battle, I'm gonna root for Novak as well. But
yeah, I'm excited. So now you guys got to give me who's your final picks?
Federico versus
fuck? Relax.
Yeah.
I think
Rad Dan versus Von Gittin.
That was
going
that was
Radical
good
Daniel Nick Novak.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bullish on Rad Dan.
I'm going.
He does good here, dude. He does good here.
I'm going literal and Vaughn.
Yeah, I was about to say that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be spicy, and I think Vaughn's gonna come to play this year.
Thought we were cheering on the homies, Cole. What the fuck happened to that?
Whoa, I can't. Whoa, if I say one, then whoa, I'm not gonna. No.
I'm joking.
No, they just both suck. Okay, we figured this out a long time.
Well, I mean, Literal's a homie. He's
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so that's.
I should have said Literal Novak, but I'll just whatever. We'll run it with it. It's fine.
I think it'd be fun to see Vaughn have some fun. It messes everything up. I just want Vaughn to like win and mess the point system up completely. It'd be great.
I want him to win this round and the last round he goes to, and then he'll be like 8th in the championship. That would be really funny if he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he gets all the seeding bracket points too, so he gets all the extra points and stuff.
Yeah.
That's if he wins the entire seeding bracket.
Right, but you get what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
Like dude could be like top of the championship if he won the seeding bracket and then won the event.
Doing 2 rounds is crazy, yeah.
Dude, he'd be in the top. He'd probably be like towards the top of the championship just from this round.
Yeah, I feel like Brandon probably already did the math, and I feel like 8th place is actually like a very...
Yeah, it's the Asian power, you know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, I know.
Oh, man. Making it to top 32. Freddie Osbo. He's probably, like you guys said, probably the guy to beat, I would think, here.
Oh, 100%.
Dean's not a bad driver either, but we'll definitely see who they get lined up with. But this is a rematch from top 32 last round with Simon Olsen and Ben Hobson. This will be...
Ben is a killer in that car now.
Dude,
I don't know what from last year to this year, but the flicks he was throwing at Long Beach was something he was not doing the first year. Again, Ben is also a homie. So,
But,
I have to go with Ben. But
no,
he looks
true.
like a ripper in that car. He looks like
it's a totally
has been
new
driving
driver,
that car for 10 years.
Yeah,
it's a totally new car.
He's a ripper this year. Whole new person, whole new car. You know, he got engaged, and now he's just flexing. You're the flex, I guess, dude. It's crazy what he did in Long Beach. It was shocking. I know our preseason video, I wasn't very bullish on him, but pretty bullish on Ben Hobson now.
Yeah,
so.
like we didn't see, we didn't really see much from him on the quote off season, but like
Yeah.
from what happened in Long Beach, dude, whoa,
Yeah. No.
that's not Ben Hobson in an S chassis. That's Ben Hobson in a Mustang now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm excited just because he is that confident. Like he reminds me of back when he was in Odie's car. You know, like
Yeah.
how dialed he was in Odie's car. Now he's getting dialed in the Mustang. Dude's gonna be a problem this year.
Yeah, and he's good at this track too. He's
Mhm.
not terrible at Atlanta.
Yeah.
So.
The other
and
question.
another hometown track for him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I feel like the guy that's the biggest wild card here is Olsen. Because, like, what Olsen's showing up this round, you know? Like, what... Obviously, back in the Supra, I know personally that they are going through a lot of changes in that car. So, for him, it's getting the car figured out and dialed for the year. I just don't know. You know, it's like, it's tough after watching the battle in Top 32 last in Long Beach and him struggling with grip setup and forward bite and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be a tough one, I think, for Olsen this round.
I do too.
You know,
I feel bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is he's got to get that car dialed. He's got to figure out driving the car because it's clearly a massively different car than Odie's cars. And I mean, you watch him drive Odie's cars, and dude was on rails, but now it's like it's a completely different story. So I'm hopeful for Simon to, like, you know, start to look like the Simon we know he can drive as. I just don't know how many events it's going to take, you know?
Yeah.
And
I
He
mean,
doesn't-
showing up
he's not a
pissed.
bad
He's
driver.
showing up pissed, regardless. Like, he wants blood from Ben. Like,
Yeah, after losing, you know, you don't want to go down twice in a row.
right. That's why I'm excited for this battle, because it's like it's kind of a nice little redemption
Little-
story for him
little
if he
rematch.
can, you know, like another rematch, because I know he wasn't happy with the battle. I
This
know
would be on
he
me on
made
Mortal
dumb
Kombat
mistakes and stuff, and I was
spam
like,
pressing the
yeah.
no rematch button. I would be so quickly saying no.
So I don't know.
I do get nervous because I mean, I think Simon's ripping this year. I think some of his practice laps look really good. I felt bad because he didn't get to put on a good display for his actual battle with Ben. But I think also it's just like the nuances of now going back and running your own program, and especially being overseas and everything. And, you know, you're in one time zone, we're in another, and now trying to coordinate like things, and like it's a lot of stress. And,
Right.
you know, I think that could play a little bit of a toll on him, as opposed to, you know, he used to just fly over, show up, and hop in the car.
Chick-fil-A, hop in the car and win. That was his
Yep.
old routine, but now he can't do that.
Which he sort of still is, but obviously, you know, he's in a way still the director. Even with, you know, you can have a team manager, everybody's still gonna look at you in a sense,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
unless you genuinely are RTR, but even then, like if Vaughn's competing, I'm sure people still look at Vaughn like, all right, what do you want? What do you want me to do? And it's like, God damn, dude, I thought we had this figured out. It's like,
Right.
but, you know, like nobody wants to do the wrong thing for the
Mhm.
person that they're working for. So, yeah, it's just one more
Yeah.
thing, and I do feel bad, but I do think Ben's gonna get the dub there. You know, I feel bad for Simon.
Yeah. I'm curious on how they did the point system, because technically Simon didn't get any points at Long Beach, and then
Because he was higher from the previous year.
is that kind of how they did it? And then you got
Yup.
like a guy like
He
Jeff
was-
Jones and stuff, and Rome.
Yeah, it's based off of standings. So he was the highest person out in the 16 from the year prior, seeded into the Long Beach bracket.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's why
I
Ben's
still
in
have
16.
no clue how that works.
Yeah, it's
I refuse to try and even learn how it works, because they're probably
Yeah.
going to change it again next year.
probably.
I'm just going to
yeah.
drive a car.
That's really it.
That's why.
If you
Ben's
win,
in
you don't got to
16th,
worry
and
about
then-
it. Okay, just
Exactly,
win,
dude.
you know?
You can just drive the car.
And that's why Stuki's in 15th, because they go off of standings from the 32, not off of overall standings. You know?
Got
Alright,
you.
nerd, calm down.
Oh.
Sorry, I do my homework. You know.
Next battle to check up on here is Beachum versus Rome. Did these guys also battle in Long Beach? I can't remember.
Maybe. I think maybe they did.
Because I feel like we got a bunch of rematches here. Because we got
Feeling some
Hurst,
deja vu
Castro,
there.
and Jones and Stuki, and those are all rematches.
Those are rematches.
So I feel like they also went against each other.
That was good. I like that one. All right.
Thanks. Thanks.
Did he go against Rome?
He
I don't
must
think
have.
so. I don't recall.
I know he went against Dean.
But-
I remember that pretty vividly.
I don't know. Regardless, Rome versus Beachum, two guys with very different motor setups. The question is Rome's car going to be held together? You know, like I feel like.
Well, as long as he doesn't get put into the goddamn boxing ring with no type of PPE on, then he should be all right. Everybody just beat the shit out of him last year.
Yeah.
And he gets out every time with a smile on. Like, all right, dude, you could be mad sometimes. It's okay to be pissed off.
Not
That
allowed.
everybody's
Not
blowing
allowed.
holes in your ship.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know who I would pick there.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
So Blake said they
Personally,
went against
I
each
want-
other in Super Drift.
They did.
but That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's why I remember it.
I
But
want
yeah.
Trent to do well.
Well, Trent did really
I
good.
think Beachum, because he's been driving a lot recently that I've
Yeah.
seen, and I mean, the more you drive, the more comfortable you get. And I think he's also one of those drivers that can, you know, be a championship winning driver, but it's like it's hard when you can't drive and you can't figure out the car.
Exactly.
But he
Yeah.
looks a lot more comfortable than he has in previous years in this car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So-
like what you just said. Like when some people, you know, you make these, you get in the pro or you make it into this series of, you know, that you've been dying to make it into, and meanwhile, right before you made it in, say you've been doing like 16 events, you know, throughout the good season, which is pretty good, you know, not breaking the bank too much. Then you come into FD and then immediately your bank account's drained, you're in the negatives, and like you can't, like, all of a sudden doing these other events, like 2 years go by
You
and you're
can't
like,
do it.
it's like wait a second, I've only driven 8 events each year. And it's like, huh, what the fuck? You know, like once that kind of like hits you, I feel like it's happened to like more of these guys recently. It's like, shit, man, like I'm losing sight of like everything that we, you know, that we are, and like
Yeah.
I'm not as competitive with the rest of the group because like
Yeah.
I'm not able to do the things that they are. So it's like,
Mhm.
all right, well, do I eat shit here in my bank account, able to go drive more and, you know, actually have a fighting chance, or do I just hope that when I show up I get in all my practice runs, which are only 12, and then, you know, your warm-up laps, so, you know, what you're looking at, max 18 laps probably for the weekend, not like including your comp laps. And in reality, we all know you're ultimately getting 10 of those. So like you're not learning that much. So it is good to see that, like what you said, he's driving more because there's no replacement for seat time. And even a sim, obviously I see him on the sim when I was playing all the time. And
Yep.
he's really
on the
taking it serious.
Thrustmaster, too.
He's a Thrustmaster
Okay.
boy. Maybe that's why we get along so well on there. Thrustmaster and Logitech shit boys. It's just
I don't mean to soil on Nate's parade, but I think he figured this out too, and I don't want to spoil it. But all the people, or not all the people, but all the people, I guess, that are locked in already for 32 that have battles right now, they went against each other in Long Beach.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was confused. I
Yep.
was like, I feel like they did.
The same battles for those
Wow.
four,
Because
those
Beachum
8
did-
individuals.
Yeah, so Beachum
Isn't
did
that
beat
crazy?
Rome.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
That's
I thought
crazy
we
how it
fucking
works.
fixed this
Even
problem. What's going on?
Casey Cole, I've gone up against Casey Cole more than anybody else, and it's like Stop. He's such a good person. He's such a good friend. Like, I don't want to go against trends anymore, dude. Stop.
Give me
Like,
the fucking dude I don't like, bro.
dude, Casey and have had like conversations like hours on end about things. And it's like, I don't want to see you in top 32 anymore. Stop. You're a homie. I don't want to see you in top 32. What are we doing here?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously Trent then did win in Long Beach, so I don't see a reason why he wouldn't again this year. But again, Rome's one of those guys that will put together really good runs, and he's always been, when the car works, it's been consistent. So
yeah,
we'll see. I'm picking Trenton for this battle, but Rome probably can easily prove me wrong.
yeah. I think ultimately I'm rooting for Trenton.
Yeah.
I am rooting for Mr. Beachum, but not too deep down, I think Rome might win that one.
Yeah.
I'm going Rome.
I'm gonna be the little mouse in the corner and say that, well, Rome's probably gonna win, but then big bulldog, Trent's got this.
Oh, so then we get another rematch of Stuki and Jones.
Yeah.
You think Jones is gonna let him have it again?
Nope.
Nah, he's got to get some points on the board.
Yeah, this is a Jones track here. Jones loves to do well here, so
I agree.
He's jonesing.
I think Jones is gonna come back and not make the same mistakes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So too.
Stuki looks pretty good.
He does
He
look
looked
pretty
good at
good.
Long Beach.
Dude, he's got the
One of
new
those
hot
battles,
dog thing.
dude.
He's gonna
I
be.
saw that, dude.
Dude, I did see that. He's got the new hot dog thing.
Dude,
I
when
am.
you can have that support in your corner, you can take a jump shot.
Yeah, once you got some glizzies in your corner, that you're good. Yes,
I am
so.
definitely gonna have to swing by the old Stuki pit, not for
For some
just
glizzies.
maybe recreational time, but maybe for some glizzies, some sustainable protein to keep the day going.
Yeah,
That's what it is, dude.
Shout out to Stuki though for Long Beach performance, because I mean, he was one of those guys that, well, the year before he always was competitive, but he never was dangerous.
Just needed to be a little bit more, and it seemed like this year
I think
came
he
out.
figured the car out this year.
Yeah.
It's the figuring out of that threshold of that 85 to 99% window that you can drive and be okay. It's a very you can go watch anytime Dean has battled or qualified. He qualified at that one stadium track, I think 2 years ago, and he lost his first qualifying, and then put down a heater of a lap that next run. It's like him and Osbo know the thresholds they can drive and not make any mistakes, but they can be just as aggressive as the best chase driver ever. But it's those two people, so it's like they know the threshold very, very, very well.
Yeah, and it's just getting to that point and being comfortable at it, because I feel like we've seen drivers in the past, try to push past that threshold, and then when they do that, they overdrive and then end up hitting either the other driver or a wall or something, and they just push it harder than harder than they can drive or over their skill level. And like you said, and I think it kind of helps too, driving with high level people and driving always pushing that envelope. I think that's why you see like a guy like James Dean, a guy like Connor Shanahan, where they're constantly driving together over in Europe and they're able to push each other like that. And I think that's kind of a cool setup that you have, Cole, over in Atlanta, is you got a bunch of guys over there now that can push each other.
That's what's so cool. It's like, look at anytime Chelsea would qualify. That's why he's such an icon in drifting, is because he drove 105% in qualifying, and sometimes it didn't work out, but when it worked out, it was the sickest run of the weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, I always think of for knowing that threshold and figuring it out, I think of Mike Power a lot, because he's a dude that would drive below the threshold a lot, and then all of a sudden he'd have a bad day. Here comes the angry Power, and it was like, holy shit, dude, what the fuck was even that run? That was gangster as hell.
Dude.
and then it kind of like progressed like for the rest of the event like that until the next event, because then it would be like a blank slate again. And I don't actually know because I'm not a driver, but like the thoughts that go through your head, everybody's different. You have that mental stress of everything. You get behind the wheel again, and going back to it, if you're only doing 8 rounds a year or 4 rounds a year, you're not ultimately retaining anything that you had just actually learned about. And like then he would come out again, something would piss him off or whatever, and he would turn it up again, and he's back in that 90 to 100% like
Yeah.
good
And
aggression.
he knew that threshold. And Mike Power's he's one of my boys. Like, I've talked to him for hours on end. Like, he's a homie.
Yeah.
And watching him drive was so exciting, especially his qualifying runs or his lead runs, because they were so good.
Mm-hmm.
But it was finding the threshold where it's like, it's hard because you have to have mechanical sympathy. You can't fucking total your shit if there's walls around, or you
Yep.
can't crash into another driver. Like, there's so many mental things that go into a race weekend that it's hard for some drivers to just turn off. Like, Mike Power is one of the best drivers to come out of the Northeast, I believe. Like, he's
Yep.
an amazing driver. He's such a good driver. But it's everything else that, you're not driving. It's the logistical stuff. It's everything else that's the hard part in trying to figure, that type of stuff out. If that makes sense.
Well,
So it's
yeah,
like,
you
you
pushing, because let's be honest, when you're on a run up in your actual battle, you push on the pedal harder than you would in practice. It's just a natural thing to
100%.
do.
100%.
And
And
learning
it's
not to do that is a skill.
Yeah.
finding that threshold range is hard. Where, all right, cool, I have to beat the shit out of the clutch if I want the car to do said thing.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, that's a $2,000 clutch I'm going to have to replace after this event. That's $2,000. That's not, that's not light amount of money. That's a
Right.
hefty amount of money
Yeah.
for a clutch. So it's like, do I push the car at 100% and drive how I need to drive, or do I try and, tone it back a little bit and hopefully it wins,
Right. So I think that's a guy like a Daniel Stuki that we've seen progress, and
Yeah.
last event showed he can really push some people around. So I'm curious to see what kind of Dan Stuki we see again. But again, I don't think Jeff Jones is going to be losing again to him. I think we're going to see a pretty aggressive Jeff this next round. Castro and Hurst, another awesome battle,
repeat.
actually. Yeah. They had a great battle in Long Beach, but Hurst is a guy that does not like losing, doesn't lose very many times in a row. He usually will, after a loss, come back with an even crazier battle. So I'm picking Hurst in this one for Atlanta. But I mean, obviously Castro had a great Long Beach. I thought he was driving really good in that battle. So
yeah,
I'm going Hurst. Hurst is usually strong here. Got some big cojones here, so you need
it's
those
another like
at
local
Atlanta.
homie track, I believe. He's in what, Kentucky
He's in
or something?
Kentucky.
yeah,
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Close enough, sure. Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, I think
All about perspective,
he's gonna come in
man.
hot. It's
All
either
right,
he's either winning or he's crashing both of them.
Yeah.
That's what it
But
takes.
he's also supposed to have a fresh kit on.
He is supposed to have a fresh kid on. That is what the word of the bird is.
Yeah, so he did not put on the new panels for Long Beach for obvious reasons.
That's smart.
So we'll see how it actually looks in Long Beach and see if it has headlights yet. Because I'm still gonna give him shit for that.
I still have this hindering feeling that he's gonna have his body kit on, and I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna make fun of him because there's still gonna be mud underneath the panels that I can see that he just didn't clean. I'm gonna be like, God damn it, dude! What the hell is this thing? Whatever. You know, it can't look any worse. I'll tell you right now, Hurst, if you ever watch this, it can't look any damn worse than what it looked like at Long Beach. Because goddamn.
Oh man, good old Hearst, man. I love him. Oh man,
Yeah.
so that's just a brief overview of some of the battles we do know. But now let's actually like kind of see if we can pick out who we like for. Let's go Final Four here, because obviously we didn't talk about a lot of these drivers, so this is a good opportunity to actually talk about some of them. So let's pick a Final Four here in each section of the bracket. I don't know if you guys can see.
I'm waiting for it to update on YouTube so I can get a
I'm
bigger
looking at
picture.
the YouTubes right now.
On the YouTubes, yeah.
So in the meantime.
But up top we got Osbo, and obviously we're not including any of the seating bracket guys just because they're not in here, so we can't do that. But we got Hobson, Osbo, Olsen, Forsberg, Manoa, which is it's a pretty spicy bracket there.
Pretty tough bracket for all of them right there.
Yeah, there's no slouches in that one.
100%.
All right, let's see. My top four.
Yeah.
Section by section, or are we just rattling them off? I think
Yeah,
we
just
should
do a top four.
Rattle them off.
Yeah. I mean, you can go section by section. We can do first bracket. Who you guys picking out of that first bracket? Or that first section? It's probably one of the harder ones. I mean, Osbo's obviously top seed.
He loves this. He does good here. I'm going with Osbo.
Going Freddie.
It's hard not to pick him, honestly.
The bottom. Oh, is that seating bracket at the very bottom? Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Here you go with Cole, top left.
Boom.
I think Ben could be dangerous. I think Osbo has the data. Papadakis knows this track. Osbo knows this track.
I'm curious how these Kenders are going to be.
What do you think about Manoa? Do you think Manoa is going to be a problem?
No.
It could be.
He didn't do. I'm thinking about last year. He didn't do well here. He got 32 here last year. It's like the only track he got 32 at.
Yeah.
So no.
He was pissed the rest of the season though.
Yeah, he was fine. That Long Beach was great.
Pissed, dude.
Yeah, it was a fluke. I hope not. I'm good.
Never
I know
seen
the
a
guy.
14-year-old that mad.
Probably flipping tables.
He's getting some hate because I was getting some hate in the FD Japan live chat over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
I was slightly talking shit about how they were saying, "Oh, what a great run by Manoa!" And meanwhile, it's like, well, what happened to that inner clip?
He was missing the inner clip all weekend. I'm not gonna lie.
How are you gonna sit here and say this was great? He dropped 2 tires over the line. He missed the inner clip.
All right, this isn't the Bash Hiroya show. Let's relax.
Listen, I like the kid. I just. That was more.
Shout out Ken Gucci, by the way, for winning FD Japan last weekend.
You're not allowed within 50 feet of Jerry Yang's tent, dude. You're done.
Well, thankfully Nick is on his own now, so
you can't borrow any ladder, dude. Get roasted.
But no,
that was more of a bash on FD Japan.
I mean, yeah, FD Japan's interesting when it comes to what they like and don't like there.
They didn't even know Ken Gucci apparently spoke English.
Well, the commentator.
Good.
Ken Gucci speaks great English. I've done.
I know he's got like a Cali accent.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Dude's like the chillest guy ever, and I was like, I didn't know he spoke English.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So the comment. What were you gonna say?
What? Oh, before the Japanese got me? I didn't even know that Kengushi spoke English. And I was shocked when he said that. I'm like, you're telling me you never watched like any interview or like any of the Scion Racing videos from 10 friggin' years ago? Like,
anytime that he's won in FD Japan.
He's won in FD Japan or in FD USA or has gone global or talks on Instagram or talks on YouTube. It's like, what are you
Dude,
talking
Herbie, you've helped me interview him.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Exactly.
I met Tenguchi in 2012. My buddy got a steering wheel signed by him. That was our first FD event that we ever went to.
Hell yeah.
And I knew back in over 10 years ago, Gucci spoke
Yeah.
English, and
Angushi,
this
you're a cool guy. You shouldn't have been
so
disrespected by that Italian
Jeez,
guy.
okay.
I
It's-
hate to say whoever it is up there in the FD Japan announcers booth, but I am coming for your job, actually. So I'm gonna tell you straight up right now, because if you could do that, I can do it way better, brother.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, the bottom left. Yeah. So
Odie.
Bottom left. Yeah, I'll go Odie.
It's hard not to pick Odie.
Odie or
I'm gonna go
Sorensen.
Gucci.
Do
I'm gonna
it.
go
Look at
Swanson, dude.
Look at him down there. I didn't even realize he was down there. Look at that.
No, I mean he's coming off of the win FD Japan. Maybe he's feeling frisky.
Yeah.
Probably
He's done
not.
well here before. He's done well here before.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go Odie though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odie's still my
Listen,
pick for a winner this year, although he needs to do better than he did in Long Beach, that's for sure.
We need ultimately Osbo. I'm sorry, buddy. I take it back. You need to lose right away. Thanks for reminding me, Nate. He's gotta get. We're going Ben top left. Ben, you need to win, and then we're going with Kengushi, and that's my bottom left pick. That's my bottom line on the left hand side.
Do
Let's
not
go,
take
Herbie.
betting advice from Herbie.
Oh
Wait.
yeah.
What do you mean? So far, I'm on the up and up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Sorensen's also looking very good.
Dude,
Yeah.
that kid showed up this year. I mean, he's been good for a
He's
couple
what,
years
he's
now.
4th, 5th right now in points.
Yeah.
He's ripping.
He's, I think, yeah, he's
He's kind of a
a
problem.
scary one, dude. He
Yeah.
is a little problem.
Yeah, I like watching him drive.
I would not surprise me to see him and Odie in top 8. Like,
No, it wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me either.
because like they
That's what happened last year, and then
A
you know
little
the thing
misfortunes.
happened. Yeah.
bye engine.
Fucking, the Oppenheimer happened.
Yeah. Brandon had to Google real quick. What
I
was
did.
it
I
called again.
forgot the name of the
What the
movie.
hell
I'm like,
was
what the
it?
fuck is that? What's the dude's name again? It's Oppenheimer. That's what it was.
Oh man.
Oh
Well-
my gosh! But yeah, and then top right,
Top right, what do we got?
James Dean.
Jimmy Dean. Gotta go Jimmy Dean.
I'm going
That's
Matt
right.
Field just to spite you guys.
It's all right. That's
Matt
not-
Field had a bad Long Beach. He's coming back and he's gonna be upset.
Listen, he'll get top 8.
I don't know. I see Dean and Connor back in top 8, I believe. I think.
Yeah, I think that's when they battled last year together. It was a top 8.
They're back in top 8, or they could be back in top 8. I think Shanahan. I think that's
Interesting.
another
You
hot
think
take,
him
but I
with the
think
new car,
Shanahan,
huh?
dude.
You
I
like
think
his new
so.
car?
I mean, it's alright.
It's all right.
Alright. I haven't seen it in person yet.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is cool looking. It's got like a little mouth on the front. So at first, I wasn't too sure how I felt about it. But I was like, that's kind of fun.
Is
It's
it?
a little fun.
Yeah.
Not like the typical teeth thing on like a Miata going on. So like that's cool.
It is a little fun.
All right, bottom right bracket. Probably the most wild card
Turk.
bracket.
Good
Turk.
turkey, dude. Turkey.
D
Turkey's a
Hughes, dude.
championship, dude.
Dylan
D.
Hughes.
Oh, Dylan Houghton.
Listen,
Tough.
it's fair. It's fair. But I gotta stay true to my boy, dude.
Yeah, I'm
I
also
don't know,
picking
Dylan is also looking very good this year.
Well, he looked kind of like shit a little bit. Not gonna lie, at Long Beach. And I hate to say that, Dylan. You kind of look like shit, dude.
He's got some things to figure out in that car. So
I saw he was definitely a little bummed out. It seemed like in his most recent story about looking at
The rocker panel.
His rocker panel yet again, just being at a V.
Yeah.
It's like, man, like, but this is again, Dylan. This is why you didn't change your chassis. You knew this was gonna happen, so just give it to somebody else for once.
I know, dude.
Just punt somebody else out of the way, dude.
Atlanta's a perfect track.
Strong.
Yeah, it is. You can kind of like, and it kind of stays hidden too. A lot of like the contact points are like, oh well, it's kind of like a gray area. Like, well, this happened, but like, is that really the lead driver's fault or is it the chase driver's fault? Yeah,
Atlanta's one of those tricky tracks. It always feels like it changes every year about how the track needs to flow. It's the same track, don't get me wrong, but like, they always change the line within, inches to feet, and it's just one of those wonky tracks.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, they're trying to do more, I guess, wider, like allowing the chase to get in the pocket. I mean, what if this year they don't allow rumble strips anywhere, like rumble strips tire drop? They could do that.
Up the hill is going to be very challenging. You need at least a
wanted
tire
to,
off to go up the hill, but
they could do it.
The biggest flaw with Road Atlanta is coming out of the keyhole, and that orange cone going down the hill is the worst spot because it chokes up the chase driver if the lead driver has no common sense. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they made it like a midline coming out and coming down, like, I guess coming through the touch and go, like coming down. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it midline.
It should be a midline because then it sets the chase driver up. If everything is about matching angle and a good chase and X, Y, and Z, but it's hard to do that.
Could they put an outer zone on the rumble strips coming back down?
No,
not really.
That's a big slingshot.
Yeah, it'd be very awkward.
That next transition,
not an outer zone, but like a touch and go. Really, would what it would probably be?
Like a clip, like an outer clip.
Yeah, just to force the lead driver out more.
Because then that'd act almost like a slingshot, because you'd come out and then you come wide and then you could just shoot down the hill and then transition up the final corner. So
but wouldn't it make you probably slow up a little bit more?
That'd lead to runaway coming out, because you could over slow going out and then just shoot down like that small hill and then transition back up.
I think you'd have more dudes blowing off the track at the very last, like going over the finish line too, because you would have all that extra wheel speed now sitting in the car, and that, like you said, you're slingshotting yourself directly at that last like flick.
As soon as you hit those rumbles after that last inner clip, you're done. You're defeating, dude.
Especially, because you would be going against. Yeah, you're going against the rumble strips.
Yeah.
So if you were to do that touch and go, you'd open up another can of worms of potential D-bead, and then also the runaway, and then I don't know. I definitely could see, like, not mandating the middle of the track, but that is, I think, where the smoothest line is. That's where
as long as they,
a couple feet
notice.
Yeah,
my problem is with FD. Sometimes they change line and stuff, and they tell drivers to do certain things, but they don't always tell the audience. So like, I just hope if they do, like, hey, they want the lead driver midline on that cone, that the public knows too, because you need to tell everyone else why you're making some of these calls, because for this year it seems like they're putting so much emphasis on the lead driver this year that those are going to be some pretty big mistakes, because let's just think about it theoretically and think that there's an imaginary cone in the middle of that track there. If you go and basically interclip that other cone, you're 2 tires off. At least, and that should be graded as 2 tires off, which is a huge deduction.
It should be a no man's land with a yellow stripe, whatever, and the lead driver can't cross its front left wheel, but the chase driver can't. Not aggressively or anything, but the lead driver can at least have a wheel over that yellow line to, get back in the pocket. But that's not going to happen. We'll see.
That's
No.
like a VDC, like how VDC has their tracks with the markers essentially that
Yeah,
are
reference
just
markers.
reference points. Yep, that you
And
don't have to hit, but like obviously
it
you do
worked.
have to hit. Like you have to hit it
Yeah.
to have a good line, but
You
you
don't.
It
don't have
worked.
to
We
Yeah,
hit
just
it.
for
we
there you
haven't
don't want
seen
to
it.
hit it. You want to be behind it or slightly in front
I
of it
think
or whatever they
Yeah.
deem.
what I think DMEC has it on a few tracks, if I'm not
Yep.
wrong, but we've never seen it done in FD, and I think it would be a great idea. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It'll
Yeah.
fade away. You'll fade
Yeah.
away quick enough. So, and
Yeah.
don't repaint it again. Boom. Solves your problem.
All
Bada
right,
bing.
so who do you guys have winning?
James the Machine
Yeah.
Dean.
That's a real wild pick
Sorry,
there,
dude.
boss.
All right, I'll go back.
Tough.
Dylan
I'm-
Hughes. He's gonna take it by surprise. He's gonna come out swinging. He's gonna show everybody what he's really got. He's gonna bring that West Coast cool guy energy, and he's
Yeah?
gonna be like, "Yeah, this is what you do to me. I'm gonna do to you." Dylan Hughes, number one.
I
full stop.
I would love to see that, dude. It would be so much fun to see Dylan just push some people around the track.
When he podiumed here 3 years ago,
I don't think he
it
podiumed
was.
here. It was, I'm pretty sure it was Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah.
That's
Orlando.
right.
He won?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Mhm.
I cried with him. I was in happy tears. Seeing him
Yeah.
all happy and everything, I was like, golly, this is what it's all about.
I just feel like Seattle's his track. You know, like that's the track for him. For me, I'm picking Odie's engine is going to make it through the whole event this time, and he's going to take the victory this time.
All right.
Realistically, I'd say Osbo, but I'm going to throw a fun one in there and say Turk. I think Turk's going to win
Uncle Turkey.
Yeah, Uncle Turkey. He's going to put it on the top of the box.
Okay.
Smell
I mean,
it.
I can see
Yeah.
that too, though. I mean, obviously you have Adam there. None of us picked Adam to win the bracket just because I feel
Yeah.
like something's going to happen. Something goofy like last year is gonna happen again to him. I don't know. I just got that feeling.
I just like to be pleasantly surprised. It's not even a surprise. I just like to be surprised, I guess. I don't know how else to put that. When he does well.
I mean,
which
the
is
thing
almost
is,
every damn time now.
I mean, if you look at the car and the program, he should be one of the guys to beat this year. It's so weird because he did end up driving pretty well in Long Beach, but bro, at the start of Long Beach, he looked awful. Like the car was so gripped up.
You'll have that
He was
on them bigger
driving
jobs.
around the track. He wasn't drifting. He was just driving. It was wild. But if he can make it work, like he's a guy that I can see probably pushing it a little too far when it comes to mechanical grip and stuff, to where it's going to cost him on his lead runs. But he made it work in Long Beach pretty good. So we'll see what he does in Atlanta. And, you know, like he reminds me a little bit about how Kristaps used to drive Blues.
Yeah.
And the way his car is set up. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be kind of like that, where he's just going to be a rocket shit up the hill and just gap people.
Gap everybody.
Yeah.
It's a good possibility, honestly. He definitely seems like he's got the program. Well, he does have the program. He has the knowledge, at least anymore.
I mean, he sent a couple people into the wall in Long Beach. He sent Dimitri into the wall, and he sent Forsberg into the wall because they just didn't have the grip to keep up with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Cole, who do you think's gonna take the box number one spot?
Just because I think it would be such a good battle. And I kind of sound like a broken record, but I would love to see Sorensen and Shanahan on like 1 and 2.
Sick.
I think that would be
pretty sick.
crazy battle because I know they are two young people in the sport that want it just as bad as anyone else, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. They don't have, they don't have a baby. Like they don't have to think about the things to do at home. Like they're young, they're dumb, they're young. Like I am too, but like I think they're gonna
they're the
push
future.
it. They're gonna drive the 101, 110% because they want it way more. And they would rather lose to driving too hard than not hard enough,
Right.
Right.
So-
Yeah, I mean, Brandon's you know, if that was the case, you'd have to really show up, you know, big brother talk, you know, treat my
Well,
sister
like,
right type style.
all right, like, all right.
All right, didn't know we were
If
going
we're
there.
speaking
but-
honest, it's gonna be it's probably gonna be Osbo.
Okay.
Just because like he's one of the drivers where it's like I don't even care to watch you practice because your practice laps are fucking 100-point runs. Like I don't care. They're so boring that they're like not exciting to watch. But
But
at the
wouldn't you
same
want to
time,
watch them
they
so you
are.
can like learn
So
to get
no,
better
100%,
from him?
100%.
Okay.
It was actually it's funny because watching him in New Jersey, the year I won, so back in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
it clicked for me of how you run New Jersey because we Prospect practice firsts, and then I, will go out and watch the pro guys, and I'm like, oh, so that's how they're doing it. Let me implement it into my next practice session. I'm like, okay, that flows so much better. Like that's how I should be
Yeah.
doing it. So it's like, don't get me wrong, he's a very good driver, of course, but like, he's one of the drivers where it's like his lead runs are so good they're boring almost, right?
Right.
Yeah, kind of like what I
Yeah.
was saying almost before.
Yeah,
Where it's
exactly.
like you can't tell how good they are because it is just so like you can tell how
His
good it is, but
If
it's
he
just
is leading in practice and you're having a conversation off to the side, you don't have to watch that run to know how good it is. You can just
Yeah.
hear it off the throttle inputs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And-
like simple facts.
And the cool thing is he's made that chassis work when no one else has.
No, that's like what's very, very, very funny is whatever they're doing in that program works so well. And watching Connor and watching Osbo battle back in New Jersey last year was like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
such a good battle. Those 3 one more times or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Those are battles that we need more of in the sport.
And I think
And we're getting them. We're getting them.
Yeah.
Dude, how many amazing battles did we get between Connor and Dean, Or even like a guy like
In
Brandon
Orlando.
Sorensen. How many
Yeah.
amazing battles did he cause last year? And
Yeah.
Adam LZ.
Orlando there for him too. Like Sorensen, yeah. All these dudes really like I feel like last year it was a new ball game again. And I always say it's like the Dean effect, honestly.
Well,
I
I mean-
truly and now it's become the Dean Shanahan effect. These guys come over and it's not to say that like
It
the people that
sets
we
a new
have
pace.
here.
Dude,
Yeah,
they're-
it's not that
people
it's
are
Sets a
bad.
brand new pace.
well, and people are so good that we got guys like Chris Forsberg and Ryan Turk at like the top 10, at like 10th place in terms of like rankings.
Yep.
Like that's
Yeah.
insane to think about, And you get a guy like Daigo Saito who comes out of Japan and is like, "Oh, I'm gonna run shit," and then all of a sudden, dude can't even win a battle, No, partially
Do
the
you,
car is kind
do
of
you
his
think
fault,
that we're ever
but
going to see a battle won this year? Find out next time.
I think
With that,
I mean,
Saito.
I would love to be a fly in the wall in that pit and see what really is going on there. Because, I mean, obviously I've heard that like he probably might have wanted like a V8 for this year, like a NASCAR
Yeah.
V8, but like he's driving the VR in Jerry's team, but he drove it so angrily, and just watching him in practice and stuff. So I don't know. Like I don't know if he just didn't vibe with the power band in the car, or like obviously that car's running anti-lag. I don't know how much
Yeah.
experience he has with anti-lag stuff like that. I don't.
And
Does
then
he
you
run that
watched
on the
him this
Japan car?
past weekend. Well, this past weekend he drove his A90
Yeah.
with a Toyota NASCAR V8. Oh,
Right.
That car's so cool. He drove like until
Okay.
until he made that mistake, which led him to go out because
Yeah.
Gucci hit his car because of that mistake. But he wasn't driving horrible. No, he was driving
Right.
like pretty good. He was very consistent. He had a good line at Fuji. It's a hard track for FD Japan. It seems, harder than it looks.
Well, yeah, because
Did
you
good.
never know. You never know when you're actually starting your run.
Yeah, and
That's-
it's like
that's
so
to-
many off cambers and like
Yeah.
super flowy. It's
They
That's
got
cool
they got
track.
the lanes, but there's not an actual speed
Yeah.
limit, and you can kind of just kick out the rear end whenever you actually decide to. So then now the chase
Yeah.
driver has to figure.
Yeah.
There's one transition, but
F
like
Japan, I got it.
Yeah.
pretty
It's
got
a
cool
fast
track.
transition that you have to time
Yeah.
perfectly.
There's that one dude in that blue S15 during qualifying. That was sick, where he just like kept it full throttle. He didn't lift through it and just hucked the angle through, and he hit the inner clip and went out. It was pretty cool. But yeah, Daigo didn't drive
God, you're such a nerd.
terribly.
I don't know.
I
know?
know,
Is this
he-
is this
Oh my
just
God,
my opinion?
dude.
But Jerry's cars look very hard to drive in terms of.
No, I don't think so. They look
No?
easy to drive. They're
You
one of the
think?
slower cars on the FD Pro field, and they look pretty loose.
Tell Jerry
when it
that.
comes-
Go
I'm gonna
tell
get
him.
banned from the pit.
That's all right, dude.
Another restraining order on you.
I'll
Hey, I didn't
escort
do
you
nothing,
over,
dude.
and then we'll walk out together.
I
can't
don't
go-
think I said anything wrong there. I am just saying how I look at
I don't.
it.
They just look like very violent cars
I think
when it comes to the anti-lag and the way that they anti-squat and just they.
They have anti-lag on those cars?
Oh yeah,
On Jerry's cars? I didn't know that.
they sound like they do.
I don't think Corolla has it.
Anti-lag would just be like
No,
pops
on
and
Daigo's
bangs when
car,
they
it
go
sounded
off
like
thro-
they had anti-lag. It certainly sounded like, I don't know. Did it sound like that for you, Herbie? I didn't actually go and ask them, but it certainly sounded like anti-lag to me.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Minoa's car doesn't have anti-lag, but
I
he
know
also drives it completely
Yuji's
different
car, yeah.
than Daigo.
Yuji's
Like
car has. A
it doesn't have
crazy
anti-lag this year.
lag.
It did
No, but last
year.
year was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That thing's breaking.
Yeah, it's such a violent element. So I actually talked to Ken about it. He's not running it this year because it would cause him to break things.
Yeah.
The anti-lag, just because it's so violent on
It
the drivetrain.
If it doesn't sound good, then it's probably not good for your motor. I would just pick a new motor if you can't keep the turbo up, but that's just me.
Or
Yeah, I
smaller
mean,
turbo.
Yeah, I suffered. I had my 2JE36. I put a 9274 Borg Warner turbo on it, and it didn't kick on until like 4,700 RPMs. But it was like, it was so bad to drive that it made you a better driver.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucked to drive. Don't get me wrong, but it was like one of those cars where, when everything worked, it was a pleasure to drive. But the curse of the E chassis got me. So
Yeah, it happens. So
That's what
Yeah,
happened
that
with
goes
Brandon
wrong.
this year for VDC. It
he
was
was in
the
an E92.
yeah, the E chassis. That's
That no,
Yeah,
the
I
E92s are
know.
good. I don't know
Wow.
what Brandon's on, but
Yeah, I just suck a little
he
bit.
just sucked.
Don't worry,
dude.
then why aren't we
I've been
seeing more
clocking in. I've been
E92s in
clocking
FD,
in,
buddy?
clocking in the past 2
Yeah.
weeks. Last round will be good. I'll tell you that for free.
There isn't
Listen.
even one this year, is there? There's no 80.
No.
There's one in
92s.
Prospec.
They're
No?
not.
Carson
Who?
Ruger's not running an E92.
Is
Carson
that
I thought
Ruger.
he was an E46.
He's
Is
in
that
an
the
E92.
Irish guy?
Nope.
Maybe he
he's
is.
He's with Rome. California
Oh,
guy,
that
won Drift League,
garagistic thing.
Garagistic car. He did Pro-Am in it, and it's his Prospec.
The
car.
E92 chassis is so good, no one uses them because they're too good for FD.
That's
yeah,
not true at
100%.
all.
No, that's that's the truth
it's-
there.
It's true.
No.
Yeah,
They're so good, no one can figure them out except
yeah,
European drivers that no American can figure them out.
yeah.
Just like Arby's,
Yeah.
is that what you're saying?
Just like who?
Arby's.
Arby's. They have the meats.
Arby's. What happened to
Yeah.
Arby's?
Nick
Nick Novak likes Arby's. Weirdest thing ever. Just want to put that out there.
I can see
Did
Nick
it-
Novak liking Arby's.
Dude, don't hate on Arby's. Arby's is
I can
like
see
somehow.
you liking Arby's.
I love
too.
Arby's, dude.
This is what I'm saying. Oh man.
But I
Don't
think
ever take me to Arby's, please.
Lee Yearwood is also in an RB, I believe, for this year.
He's not
He's not
running.
in Prospec.
He's
no
not in Prospec this year.
Not?
No.
No.
Nope.
He's having funsies.
Yeah, he's in S15.
Yeah. RB.
Thing's cool. RB.
RB.
I did like his
Arby's.
car though last year. It was sick.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a good
Yeah,
car.
Carson Ruger's the only E92, and he's in Prospec. So
Interesting. It
It's
is
great to have a
interesting how, like,
quarterback from the
obviously, you
NFL.
know how, like, the OEMs are involved, where you got Toyota, you have Nissan, you have Ford, but no one from BMW is trying to, market their new
yeah,
BMWs.
there's a
and
story
everything.
with that, but I don't
Dude.
think it'd be said on air.
Say it.
Yeah. Well, I
I'll
mean,
hold back
I also
on it.
know that they are not fans of drifting, even though they use them in their commercials and stuff. But I just,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we don't see new M chassis or new BMW chassis really, apart from in Europe.
Yeah. I want someone to drive a G87 or an F22 or something. That'd be
That
sick.
would be tough.
So sick.
That
That'd be
G-
so
Yeah.
tight.
Did y'all see the carbon Kevlar G87?
Mm-mm.
No, this is nice.
That's a
I'm sure.
good
Well,
look.
the G87
That's
just alone is
good look.
nice.
Oh,
So.
Brandon, you saw it.
I did see it. Yeah.
That's a good looking car.
Good looking car.
Probably fucking sucks geometry wise, but style over performance, right?
All right, Cole. If
That's
you had to
right.
pick a different chassis, what car would that be?
If I knew anything about a G87, probably a G87 right now. But
Yeah.
honestly, like the dream car, forever dream car will ever be a E92 full HDK build with, I don't want to say the motor because I don't know, but probably a NA nitrous would be sick. But
A fast one.
a fast one, yeah, give me a fast motor, dude. Give me one of
Dude. Oh.
Yeah, that's kind of like I think the majority of like my boys' dreams too for like the car. It's always like the
It's-
Eurofighter or something along those lines of like
whatever they're doing in Latvia right now, they're doing it right.
yeah, yeah, pretty much whatever they got going on. I
Whatever they
want
got,
that.
dude. I'm coming over pretty soon. All right,
Yeah.
Right.
but
No.
I don't know. The E92s they're tricky. The rear end geometry is wonky. Like
That's what
Yeah.
we've heard.
even Mike at Weisfab was like, "Don't get an E92. You're gonna hate it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to you
Yeah.
right now, dude."
Look
And
how cool they look.
Yeah, and then
They're
somehow
so
you
cool,
ended
dude.
up on an FRS again. It's like so weird.
well, I know the FRS.
Yeah.
I don't know the E92.
But they're
like
they're weird. They're weird
I
suspension
have
too. Like
They're very weird,
they're
but
like
it just takes time. It just takes time to figure it out. Like, look at Dean with his E92. He rips it, and like, I have a little street
to
car.
be fair, James
E92.
Dean could drive a brick and it wouldn't matter. Okay, let's be honest.
All right,
Here.
well, you can still argue that point. You can still argue that point, of course.
True.
But it's just everything takes time to figure out. I mean, I think you get to a point where like an S chassis, a lot of people drive them, and there's so much data across the S chassis because they're one of the longest, drifting chassis ever,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like everything's figured out. All the Y-swap is perfect. You throw it on and you're going fast now, or PBM or whatever you want to put on it. It works because it has so much development on it.
Right.
I think these newer chassis are hard because everyone will just fall back to an E chassis or an S15 or whatever the case is because it's done. You don't have to have the R&D on it. You don't have
Yep.
to figure things out. You don't have to talk to WiseFab and beg them to change something because they're most likely not going to listen to you.
Right.
So it's like I don't think we're going to see a lot of new cars anytime soon. And it kind of sucks to say, but it's kind of true. Like, yeah, we're seeing the S650 Mustangs, but are they really Mustangs still? They're a
Right.
Mustang chassis, but like everything
That's 550
geometry-wise,
re fucking
Like-
skin. That's all it is.
an
Mhm.
unlimited budget team can figure that out because they have the time and money to figure that out.
Herbie,
Like,
I didn't
it's-
know Bystrack was unlimited
know.
budget. You know.
Yeah, dude. I didn't know Bystrack was racking in the dough.
S550. It sees S550. If you had an S650,
But it's
that's
this-
when you'd know.
It is the
Yeah,
same
that
car
is.
geometrically.
That's what-
Underneath of
Yeah, I
it,
know.
it's the same thing.
I actually told him today. I was like, dude, I'm like, it doesn't look like a monster truck like I was expecting it to. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I thought that because of the tire size, I thought it was gonna look hideous, but it actually
So like
looked very nice.
it's funny. Like you don't see the RTR cars three-wheeling as much as you do now. Like, they're pretty low to the ground as they
Yeah.
were previous years. Like, I don't know. From
Well,
whatever, you know,
I think
Chelsea
they've
and Dean
changed a
did in
lot on
that
those cars.
program.
I think James Dean had a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Like, his car looks planted. And then you see, you know, Ben's driving, and it still pops a massive three-wheel because he's getting back on power so hard and aggressive.
Yeah, he.
So it's
I
like,
think that was one of the things Chelsea tried really implementing in his head was to really just not like on or off. You want to like
yeah, a
really
nice,
like modulate that
aggressive
a
car.
lot more. Yeah, and that would be me if I ever got into that chassis. I would be you would think I'm riding a Mustang because of how hard I'd be bucking that thing around the course of just like, well, I lifted once, now my foot is just
Like,
smacking the throttle, and it's like, oh
that's
god.
that's the hard part of, like, getting into drifting and then trying to compete at a pretty high level in drifting is everyone's chasing a setup, and I even had Novak tell me this past Saturday, like, just drive the car and figure out how the car wants to be driven. Like, Taka was one of the biggest, you know, preachers in my ear of, all right, here's the car you have, figure it out, make it work, make it get
Yeah.
around the track. It's it's a really funny debate, but setup is obviously important, but just learning how the chassis wants to be driven and then making changes around it.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
100%. A couple comments in the chat. Connor Pulowski brings up, remember when he was going to send all the GT radio boys home?
Talking to
Talk-
Adam, yeah. Or
Talking,
Chris.
talking about Forsberg. Is he
Yeah.
going to be
Or
sending all the GT
Strasburg.
radio boys home in Atlanta?
I mean, who's he got in his bracket? That's GT Radio. He's got Hiroya. See that one, possibly, but
Oh yeah, Freddie's
I don't know.
Kenda now. I keep forgetting about that. You know, shout out the. I just want to shout out the tire companies for making it competitive this year. Like having like good, legit like tires that are competitive is like it really does make the
Nice.
competition better. And
Yeah.
you know, not everyone's fighting to be on the same tire. You know, and it's not like your season's over if you get stuck with another tire. You know.
Yeah.
So I am curious to see. Obviously, we've seen a lot of good things out of Kumo. That's like the one tire I'm still like, you know, we're still waiting to see some results from. And Atlanta's definitely gonna. I don't know. What would you think, Cole? Is Atlanta a good like tire divider per se?
He fell asleep.
I mean, it's like it's hard to say from like personal preference.
Obviously, because
and
you guys have
whatnot,
always driven on the
because
same tire, but like,
I'm on GT, and from all the tires I have drove so far, the GTs have been the best tire for grip wise, which is kind of funny. Even on like a 265 Falcon, a 265 Nitto, it's I still would rather prefer a 255 GT, and it's a lot faster. And it's like obviously it comes down to car setup and whatnot, but I wish there was more tire manufacturers. I wish Falcon would come back, but who knows if that's going to happen.
right.
But
Well, the question more
I don't
is
know.
like, is it do tires matter in Atlanta? I guess was the real question, because Long Beach you can get away with a not very grippy tire. I feel like and still be competitive. Atlanta,
I mean, that's like a double-sided sword question.
yeah,
Like it's a yes and no factor. I mean, you throw a GT on an E36, and then you can throw a Kendo on a E36 with the same setup, and it's going to be a drastic change.
yeah,
Like that's what's so cool about drifting and FD specifically is everyone's on different tires. No one's really on the same tires except us Prospec drivers, and that's the beauty about it is every car is set up completely differently. No two cars the same on the FD grid.
yeah. No, it's true.
They're like snowflakes.
Mm-hmm. Each with their own tire marks. Yeah. No. All right, boss. What's going on with your program? You got any shout outs you got to say? Hype for the year. What's going on?
I mean, it's all pretty much the same stuff as last year.
Yeah.
Maybe different coilover company
Cool.
on, different after Atlanta, but for the most part, it's still pretty basic. Wisefab, different coilovers, but everything is pretty much the same except the motor.
That's sweet.
Who's providing them fancy boy NA V8 motors?
Golan Spec or Golan Engine Builder. I think they're out of New Hampshire, I believe. Chad, he's a good person. I'm trying to think. Not much has really changed except just engine platform. We're on some hot boy wheels. That's about it. So yeah, still with Core Works a little bit. Yeah, shout out Gregory. Yeah, really the only thing is, we have a work deal, but that's about it.
Yes.
Right.
Work deal.
Some work
Meisters, big chromey Meisters. Is that what's happening?
No, just hot boy, simple hot boy wheels. A good like OEM plus, like ZR10s is what we're running. So
nice.
They're good.
Yeah.
I've been beating the shit out of them, and somehow they have held up to my abuse, which is good. So good wheels.
Who's the driver you want to beat this year? You gotta pick one of your homies. Who do you want to pull out ahead of in the standings? Gotta call him out.
Dustin Miles. Dustin Miles has 2 on me right now, dude. I can't, dude. He's a homie, of course. He's a homie, but
yeah,
I gotta get 1 on him eventually.
Yeah.
Good I can't Dusty, man. Let that happen again. I don't know where he is on the bracket. I don't even know, but he might be on my side.
He's got like mirrors set up in his engine bay, all that chrome and polish. He's trying to
find it's a hot car, dude. Dude, the first year I had to get closer because the sun was blinding me. Good car, dude. But like the sun reflecting off that chrome he had, it was bad. But no, Dustin's a homie.
That's cool.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't want to say there's not competition because obviously there is, especially with more prospect drivers coming in. But like I don't know. Biggest goal is just being more consistent.
Yeah, I mean that's the play. Where can people find more info on you, bud? What's the best place to check you out at?
Instagram. That's about it.
It's Cole Richards with a Z.
Yep.
Yeah. He's real.
I don't know how to self promote. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not really PR trained.
Are we gonna see you in any more FD and 60-second videos? Preferably ones with you getting waterboarded.
That one was bad. I thought I was going to die. They did Ben Hobson pretty light. They tortured me. I hope not.
He makes for good content, so I think you guys should reconsider. You guys should do another one with you and waterboarding.
That's not my job. That's the interns of CoreWorks. So
I'll send him an email.
Yeah,
make sure it happens.
Do it.
Make sure it happens.
Awesome. What's up? What's going on with you guys? Anything cool this weekend?
Damn, dude. My Discord self almost came out, and I'm glad that it didn't because it would have just been not true, and definitely not what the live stream would have wanted to hear. No, nothing. Just hanging out, dude. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna just take it easy until Atlanta, and then because then we got Atlanta, and then Hyperfest right after. We're just kind of slow rolling into it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a busy May.
Yeah,
it's gonna be May.
Dude.
It's gonna be May.
God damn, Justin's over here.
Yeah.
What do I got? I got an event this weekend at Eurofed Kennesaw. If you're in Georgia, come on down. But yeah, no, got a few sim builds I got going. So that's good. Yeah, all that good stuff. Go shop at Boundless Racing to get me Chipotle bowls so I can be fed. Get your sim equipment. There we go.
Then who buys your Chipotle away?
Yeah. Good seeing Cameron Ross in the chat. I see you, buddy. Am I jumping on the sim later tonight? I think I have to babysit someone. But Herbie, I know has no life, so he'll probably be on.
I haven't been on the sim, dude, in a couple months. I'm washed up.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
Bro, you're
well, not
following the
since our
same
last
trend
sim.
as Brandon here.
Well, it's because when I lost my last comp, it wasn't because of me, and then I guess it really ultimately did weigh on me more than what I thought it did. Because then after it happened, I was like, well, that's fucking stupid. But then it was so stupid that I didn't even want to have fun on the sim anymore because they had our names mixed up.
I mean, at
And
least be
I'm
like Brandon and just being a depressionist, drive everyone else's car.
Yeah, like when you lose because of
Hey.
contact, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize that I hit that guy, and then you look at the stream and everything that they faulted you on was the other guy, and you're like, oh, so I was him and he was me,
Yeah.
and he won because they fucked up the names. Okay, yeah, so I mean, I did like a week afterwards of iRacing, and then I think the last race I did, dude, I think I had like 15 or 16 infractions, and I was like way too many Yinglings deep to be racing. And I said, we're gonna move this baby off to the side, and yeah, I guess until then, I mean, I think
You're
deep
not
down inside too, I told
Yeah.
myself I need to upgrade. Like if
Herbie.
I'm,
You're not banned off iRacing yet.
dude, have you seen? Wait, have you seen the shit that I talk on there?
I can only imagine.
No, dude, I'm actually my safety rating is really good. It was just
A C.
it was a little drunken evening. No, I have a B in what the circuit racing,
Yeah.
and then
Road?
but my I rating on circuit racing isn't that great. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, dude, like if I get, I know the rules and I am quick to amount to my faults. But then when other people are illegal blocking, and then you finally you've had enough of their illegal blocking and you try to sneak by and then they spin out and then they intentionally T-bone you. I'm going to say some really nasty things in the chat. And honestly, I pray every time that I get banned so I don't have to pay that fucking subscription anymore.
Oh,
Please, Phil says, get over Herbie and let's catch some doors. Yeah, I know.
Cole, are you
I know.
practicing on
Over.
Atlanta? Is that kind of what you're just doing on the sim?
Yeah, I have a couple hours. I just started getting back on the sim. It's like a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Walk
Cole has seen
in.
me on there, I think, one time, and it was another time that I was already a couple hours in and not having a good time, and I was just blowing off of the first. I think it was Riga. I'm pretty sure I was just blowing outer zone one, and then eventually just running into the wall on purpose because I'm so frustrated. It's like, yo, dude, how many laps have we done here, and you still are sucking? All right, that's
Can't
what's
do
up.
it.
That's what's up. That's really cool. As I'm trying to flex the stupid Logitech off, but also not because it's the only thing I have.
Right.
But
Oh, I'm just curious from your perspective, Cole. How close is it to your car, or is it not even in the ballpark?
That's what's hard about the sim. I don't think it will ever be one of one,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's the timing of things and just trying new things on the sim that you can implement into real life, which is good. But it's like a lot of people think I came from the sim and then started driving. It was kind of the other way around. I, did Taco Awana school, and then I think right after I was kind of finishing up his school, I got a sim.
Right.
And my first competition ever, I think I got third or something in East 10. So it's the sim's good. It's a very good asset, but I've had, companies come out to me with $20,000, sim rigs and be like, "Hey, do you think anyone would buy this over, you know, a drift car that they can take out on a weekend?" I'm like, "No. No one's going to pay 15, 10, $20,000 for a sim rig that goes up, down, sideways, up and down. No one's
yeah,
going to do that. It's not
Not
you
in
can't.
drifting.
No, you can't do that. That's not how drifting works.
Yeah.
I don't care how sideways the sim gets, it's not going to ever be the same thing.
Right.
Nothing is ever going to be a transition coming down the hill of Road Atlanta or going up the hill at Road Atlanta. Like, there's the only experience you get from that is by doing it in real life. Sure, the sim helps with like visual markers, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
the sim is a completely different tool than what a lot of people think it is.
Yeah. No,
Yep.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I would agree. It's a lot of
I
hand-eye
agree.
coordination, and
Yeah.
ultimately, like, you can have the most dialed-in car on the sim ever, and you go and like try to replicate. Obviously, not the slider bars or anything, but you try to replicate that in real life, and you're like, well, this thing is loose in this section, or it's like way too gripped up. It's like this isn't making any type of sense, and it's like the tire profile is never going to be 1-to-1. You're
It's
never
never
going to
going to
be
be
able to
the
get
same.
that
It's
butt dyno feeling. Like you're
yeah,
like, so ultimately, yeah, like the sim
like
is the best tool for just getting your hand-eye coordination down and knowing what to do in those tight moments where it's like, oh shit, transition, I'm way too close still. What do I do? It's like, quick,
it's
fucking hammer, like lock it up, quick, do
it's
something.
funny. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people don't know that my first ever time tandeming with another car was an East 10. Oh my god, I'm dying right now. An East
Having a
10
stroke.
drift event. Yeah, no, my first time ever tandeming was an East 10 drift event, and we got third place, and then we tied for first on the championship, getting second, and that was all because of the sim.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
Like, it
Yeah.
helps, but it doesn't
Fully. Yeah.
fully.
It's not a
It's not
one to
fully.
one.
Yeah,
It's like a
it
1 to 0.5.
yeah, like it helps with the transitions, the timing, the clutch work, the handbrake work, everything else it helps with, the handwork especially.
Right.
But you're never going to feel the same thing like you do with your body in a real drift car.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think racing with simulators is a lot closer to 1-to-1 than drifting right now.
Hmm.
I have tried one of those like crazy 6 degree of freedom like platform rigs that are
Not
like
worth it, dude.
fucking 50 grand. It's
Not worth it.
cool. It feels cool, but is it
Like the
worth 50
sim,
grand? I don't know. Probably not
uh,
for most.
even at like a prospect level, like the sim is only there to keep you fresh and keep you sharp and keep you agile, I guess. I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's only there to be
For the
like
muscle memory.
a muscle memory workout, if you even want to put it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's just another tool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think
how
if you have the
often?
mindset of not like making it be like, oh, it has to be just like my car, or else
Hmm.
this is like totally useless. If you have either like a VR or a good triple screen setup or whatever, and you get the depth perception correct, then you can also have it with like learning transition timings and like
Yeah,
understanding how close I
exactly.
could get to people and stuff like
Like,
that too.
it's hard for a lot of tracks. Like, the only track that has been remotely similar has been New Jersey. And
Mm.
I was doing laps on New Jersey, just practicing the transitions because the transitions there are a key factor. The braking zones are a very key factor for that track. So it's like from winning my license from East 10 to going to New Jersey and getting my first ever podium was like an 11-month time frame, I believe. But
Mm-hmm.
that's only because I put hundreds of thousands of hours on the sim practicing every little key part of that track.
Right.
And it doesn't work for, big tracks like Road Atlanta. Like sitting on top of the starting line at Road Atlanta and not seeing the whole road down is a whole different type of, I don't want to say scary, but a whole different type of like weird feeling that will never sit right with you. Like you're going fourth gear as fast as you can, transitioning blindly almost. So it's like,
Right.
whoa, the sim cannot do that.
No. And you're right. As long as you understand what the tool is there for, and like you said, it's not like going to be that 100% thing. Like I found like a drastic improvement in my driving personally, just in the month or in the short time that I have had one, because it does help on so many things, like you said, with the muscle memory and the visuals and all that kind of stuff. And I was able to practice my local track, and I felt way more confident when I took my car out now. But I do have to get going here, and again, it was awesome having everyone else on here. Had some great convos. Talked about FD Atlanta. Got to talk about Cole's program. Sounds like he's going to be another ripper this year. Until he isn't, hopefully.
Until he isn't.
You hoping on you praying on his downfall, dude?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy work.
But again, thank you everyone for checking out this stream. Next week we will be in Atlanta, so not sure what we're going to be doing there. We do have some fun stuff, and if you guys miss Sara, well, we got some more stuff that's going to be coming out with her as well out there. So super excited. Obviously, we'll see Herbie there. I'll probably find Brandon and start messing with him there as well, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can do some live streams like while we're doing like tech or something. That would be kind of fun.
That would be cool. Maybe
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
It'd be fun. I mean, everyone's there like a day or two early, so
You got your cool microphones?
I got all the microphones that don't work, so it's
All
great.
right, mic me up, brother. We're going in.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We'll do Kevin's corner with Herbie.
No footage is no
Yeah.
footage you can use, dude.
Listen, we're just there. I may swing a little bit more towards the team, but ultimately, I just like to talk shit to everybody.
We're just shit talking.
Everyone
That's
is
all
fair
it is.
game. Let's be
the
honest
sport
here.
doesn't
Okay?
have enough shit talking, dude. Fire it up. You got it all fired up.
Yeah.
And if Nate allows me to just let me do that, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep on doing what I do.
Oh no, just let me know what it takes to get you out of retirement there, bud, okay? We need you back on that sim.
Well, if Brandon can get a certain someone to purchase a sim, then I perhaps would get one for free.
Oh my gosh.
The
guys-
So,
incentive is for you to convince. Never mind. We're not.
Come on,
doing this
Bystrack,
live.
just buy the fucking sim.
All right, we're just staying in. All right, it's cool.
All right, guys.